Hello and welcome to the very first, not one-on-one shot, but two v one shot, where I am joined by the amazing Meagan Kenreck, and also this dude that you might know that tends to be around if Megan is around, Mr. Todd Kenreck. Hello, thank you both for joining us today. This is a
Hello.
here on one-on-one shots is the name of the show, but I did definitely want to have both of you on because I think your story is so fantastic. Usually we get together, we talk a little bit, we chat a little bit, we play some games, maybe we play little dungeons, and additionally perhaps some dragons. So first let me ask you, well, Megan, who you are, where people might know you from, and who you will be playing today.
Hello, everyone. I am Meagan Kenreck. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Meagan Kenreck. Also on Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific, I'm on a show with Todd called Silver and Steel, where I play his wife, Sophia's. But today, I will be playing Whittle, a rock gnome artificer.
Yes, I have spent a little bit of time with Whittle before. She is a favorite of mine. Excellent, absolutely. Wait, so Todd, does this mean that you will be playing Whittle's eternal right-hand man, Rind?
No, I am playing Avon because I want to be awful and evil. And I've never gotten to play Avon with Whittle, actually. So
This is going to be really interesting.
yeah, this is going to be a weird combination. So,
On the off chance there's people that don't that have been under a digital rock of some sort and don't know you, Todd, or don't know Avon, who are you and who is he?
I am the content manager, creative manager over at D&D Beyond. So like there's a comic, there's interviews, there's live streams, there's all kinds of videos, and there's all kinds of like trailers and strangeness and articles. So I'm in charge of all that. So that's all my fault. And then Averin is my best character. Since I was 8, I've been playing him. He started out as a ranger and has went to the dark side pretty quickly once I hit my teens. And now he's I finally settled on Morlock, I think. But hey, as we know, I like to change my mind all the time because I have a dungeon master's brain. So Averin's a god.
There are a number of Averins. That is true. Yes, I've encountered several flavors of Averin, all myself. It's always interesting to me. Well, actually, let me just say one thing up front. By the way, those of you that are joining us in chat, hello out there in the internet. If you have any questions for me or either of these beautiful people, feel free to type it in chat. Just put a capital question in front of it, and we will try and get it in at some point over the time that we're hanging out here. Now, one of the things that sparked me doing this show in the first place was I'm fascinated by the idea of what kind of characters people play and why. Because especially when you have something like Dungeons and Dragons that is just fantastic, it literally fantastic, and you have all of these options of races and classes and alignments and things. Why a person picks like these individual things and sort of assembles it is like the most interesting thing in the world to me. So, Megan, where did Whittle like come from? First of all, I guess tell us a little bit about Whittle. We're gonna meet her properly here in a few minutes, but tell me a little bit about Whittle and like where she came from, like how you ended up creating her.
I was inspired to create a silly character because I played warlocks for a really long time and I had a hard time giving them flavor. And that was just because I hadn't figured out if I wanted to do accents or funny characteristics. And it always kind of fell flat for me. So I was actually just going through D&D Beyond and I made the most ridiculous character. I was like, I'm never going to play this. And then it ended up being my second favorite character that I've ever created. I did research on YouTube about different voices you can use for gnomes. And so I tried a few of them out and Todd thought it was hilarious. And this is just a nice little silly break from, playing Sophia's.
When everything has to be, I guess it doesn't have to be, but tends to be more serious, right?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that it's like the baseline for both of you was like Warlock Edgelord, and Megan was like, I will do not that.
I
And
will do
Todd
the
was like, or I'll
opposite.
do all of that.
Yes, that's why I'm really excited to see the chemistry between Whittle and Averin because Averin is so calculated and so clever, and Whittle is just like, whatever. She shoots from the hip. She thinks about it later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I know what that's like. You just have to like do things. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's small people have a better perspective. Oh man,
Certainly a shorter one.
that's true. There's certainly a different one. Different one. Get hip
Mhm.
checked a lot when you're small folk. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Todd, you mentioned that you've been playing Avon since you were young. That he started as a ranger. Like, what? I guess one, do you even remember the genesis of the character versus like how he came to be what he is now?
I think the genesis of the character, now that I'm actually thinking about it, there's a lovely piece of art in second edition where it kind of codified who Avon was, and because I played him in first edition, but then there's this lovely piece of art in the player's handbook where there's like 8 adventurers and they have a young dragon. The dragon is the size of maybe a dog. They have it on a tree and they're like heroes. And that made me realize that the heroes are not necessarily heroes. And that changed how I played Avon from then on.
The name of that picture is Dragon Slayers. I
Dragon
know.
Slayers, yeah.
I looked it up because I wrote a piece of fiction earlier this year where all those adventurers get killed immediately afterwards. But it was a nod to that, so I had to like look it up and describe all. So I know exactly the one you mean. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It broke me as a child out of that mold of thinking of like, okay, because I love the idea. I myself, like, I would sleep in tents all summer outside. I would run around in the forest. I would chase bunnies. Like, that's actually my childhood. Like, I was in a tree more than I was on the ground. So I did like Rangers quite a bit, but I love spooky stuff. I love Vincent Price. I loved Hammer horror films. Christopher Lee as well. But the idea that evil could be fun and welcoming and warm from Vincent Price. I just looked up to him so much as a little kid, and that deeply affected me. And that's the kind of evil character I like to play. It's a hard line, but I also fell in love with that myth of the Stingy Jack myth. It's an Irish myth where this terrible guy gets confronted by the devil, and he tricks the devil into going up a tree and traps the devil up the tree. Like, he says, I bet you can't go up and grab an apple out of this tree. And the devil jumps up there and he reveals that he's put like all these silver crucifixes all around the tree and the devil can't get out. And he's like, well, Stingy Jack is like, here's the deal. I've got you trapped up a tree. You can, I will let you out if you promise I never have to go to hell. And so the devil does. And he's the only one to trick the devil, except for when Stingy Jack finally dies. Heaven won't let him in because he made a deal with the devil and he's a terrible person. And then when he goes to hell looking for a home, hell's like, no, that's the deal. But here's a ember from hell to light your way in the netherworld. And Stingy Jack carved that into a turnip, shoved the coal in there, and that's the origin of the jack-o'-lantern. And that's what Avon is, basically. Just a trickster.
That I apologize because I'm about to sneeze. So if I just suddenly go silent out of nowhere, so I don't deafen everyone. That one little anecdote just brought the character of Avon into just such incredibly sharp focus for me. That's the missing piece of the puzzle. That's the missing. He's the guy that conned the devil and realized he probably wish he hadn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. No, that makes total sense.
Sometimes winning isn't everything.
True. Now, you're from the Pacific Northwest, right, Todd?
Yeah, that's true.
Like rural Pacific Northwest?
Like middle of nowhere, like they forgot what zip code we were. Pacific Northwest, yeah.
Yeah, because like I know, yeah, because you're kind of from the middle of nowhere. I'm from the South. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, which is like a bastion of civilization.
Right. My dad's originally from Arkansas, so I know what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Now, if your dad went from Arkansas to like rural Oregon, like again in my head, like this whole like Duck Dynasty, Alaskan Bush people thing just like happened in my mind there. But like, where are you from, Megan? Because we are savages who have wandered into the edges of civilization.
I'm from a more geographical South Florida, so not anywhere close to Arkansas. But it was funny because when I was growing up, I felt like I lived in a totally different part of Florida from what everybody thinks of when they think of Florida. Funny story, North Florida wanted to actually separate from South Florida at one point. They wanted to make it 2 separate states. Because North Florida obviously was very conservative. It's right up there with Georgia and Alabama. And then South Florida is, pretty liberal, especially the city where I grew up in. I think there's like 60,000 people. So I definitely can't relate to some of the things that Todd dealt with when he was growing up.
He's,
But
he's like, you were bored with indoor plumbing. I didn't see
Yeah.
that coming.
a little bit of that.
But then in 2011, I came out to Seattle to visit Todd, and I was like, wow, this is great. There's mountains. But then we were driving through the mountains, and I think we're on our way to the Washington coast, and you have to drive through the Olympics. And I wasn't used to these tiny little roads with perpendicular walls. I felt really uncomfortable. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I asked Todd, what would happen if a deer jumped out in front of the car or if a rock fell? And he's just like, just don't think of that. Don't bring it up. I thought Pacific Northwest people had a solution for these types of problems. I don't know.
It was like midnight, and this road is like so curvy in the mountains, and our hotel is closing at midnight. To horrify you more, like, we're going to Forks, and we are going to a Twilight themed hotel.
Yeah.
Because that's the nicest hotel in Forks.
Yeah, but we got the upgrade. So
Yeah.
we had 2 separate twin size beds, one for Team Jacob, one for Team Edward.
It was a rough time. There was even Twilight themed towels. Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I just failed my save against something when you said that. I'm just like, what?
Yeah. The whole town was like all about that Twilight culture. So every store was Twilight themed, and we just wanted to like relax, right?
I mean, had they actually filmed it up there? Like, I mean, I know they filmed it up there, but it just was
No,
they
it's
just
a
jumped
scam.
on, huh?
It's such
Yeah.
a tourist trap. They didn't film in Forks, Washington.
Yeah. They filmed in like Northern California for the
And
most part.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was fun. And it was the nicest hotel in that area, so I didn't mind.
Conversely, when I went to Florida to visit Meagan, it's not a rational fear, but I've never seen flatness, and that Florida has, and I just kept on feeling like a condor was going to like just grab me. Like there was like no shelter.
So I'm like, that's how the gators get you. They
Yeah,
wait
yeah,
for you to
yeah.
look up at the sky.
I walked by a sign that said "Warning Gators," and like like, and I'm like, no, for real, there is. They're just like looking at you. I'm like, okay. The other thing, I'm not calling out an entire state, but so I've been to LA a lot. There can be some harshness, some rudeness in New York. They pride themselves on being rude. Sometimes, like people are just in a bad mood in New York. Seattle has a passivity to it, I will say, and Florida has weaponized and turned being rude into an art form. Because we went to a restaurant together, and someone tried to sell us a LeBron James plaque at our table. Well into the restaurant.
So, and the waitress tried kicking him out, and he turns around and he was like, do you want to buy a LeBron James plaque? And she's like, no, get out of here.
With the confidence of a man who had seen things. like the world owed that plaque to be sold.
Like he's like in the coming apocalypse, it's like a quest giver. That's it. He was trying to. That was your inciting incident, you guys. That was your call to adventure.
I felt like the writing for the scenario was so bad. I'm like, this can't be real. What's happening right now?
I need to get out of here.
Well, let me ask you this, because you mentioned you went to Seattle to visit him. You went to Florida to visit her. Like, how did you guys like meet originally?
We met because Todd was working at NBC. He was a video game journalist. And I was watching all of his reviews because I wanted to find some new games. So when I was getting ready in the morning, I would have the MSNBC playlist up, and I would just be watching one video after the next of his. And so I kind of felt like this sense of normalcy. Like I was used to hearing his voice in my apartment, and I wasn't pursuing him. I was just, trying to stay up to date with games. And at the end of his videos, he would always say to stay up to date with the latest games coming out, follow me on Facebook. So I did. And then I think maybe 6 months later, we started to chat. about my trip to Japan, and there's like 7-story tall arcades. So we related on that. And I think a few months later, he noticed that my status on Facebook changed. And he swooped in, and the rest is history. I came out to Seattle about 2 months later to meet him for the first time, and that was nerve-wracking. He turned out not to be a psycho, which I was really relieved about.
It always
Eh.
helps. It always helps. It was so it was a weird time where I let anyone add me on Facebook, which is a terrible idea. But it was funny because you have your little Facebook feed at the time, and suddenly there was a kind of an awareness campaign happening where you like put a cartoon character up, and she put up Lydia Dietz, and in my feed I see Lydia Dietz. I'm like, oh, like from the cartoon Beetlejuice. This is like old school reference. I was like, oh, cool profile pic, and that's literally how we started talking. I didn't know anything about who she was other than like I really love Beetlejuice. I have issues with the cartoon and how many puns they did, and then I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like we were just two people that immediately understood each other. So
Yeah,
like
sometimes
our
I like to
messages
go
in
back.
Facebook Messenger just got longer and
Yeah.
longer, and like they just escalated.
Like every time we would respond to each other, the next message would be at least that long or
Yeah,
longer.
yeah. We're gonna print it out and like frame it in our
Yeah,
house because
yeah, we should
it's
frame
like
it and
adorable.
put it up our staircase.
Yeah.
Yeah, like make wallpaper out of it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you super should. You super should. This is adorable, you know?
Yeah,
It's,
we just knew. Yeah.
And then after I visited him for the first time, I remember we were walking through the parking lot at the airport.
No.
And he's used to seeing me on webcam. I'm 5'8", but the couch that I was sitting in was like a giant teddy bear. It was huge. It was plush, and it was super comfy. So he thought that I was much smaller than I am. And he sees me standing for the first time. And he's like, wow, you're big.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's the real smooth stuff.
And I married him. I married him.
Yeah, I got the look.
I knew that you regretted saying that immediately.
Oh, it was just so.
But I'm gonna give you shit about that forever.
Oh, I know.
It's one of my
rightly
favorite
so.
memories.
Rightly
We
so.
it was interesting because she was so far away, and we were both obviously together jointly far away. So we would like it's an old school Xbox thing, but they actually allowed you to use your avatars to watch a film together on Xbox Live, and you would see your little avatar in the movie theater. And so we would watch movies using that app and together, and then we would play Team Fortress. And another thing I loved about her is she was like really good at first person shooters. So we like destroyed everyone on Team Fortress.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would leave Skype open like all day and all night. So I had a 30-inch monitor that was just a window into her apartment, and her monitor was always on. Sometimes we got like feedback loops on audio, so we'd have to yell noise, which was like a thing that we would do. We just scream noise to stop the feedback.
Yeah. Now I feel really nostalgic whenever I hear that Skype.
Yeah, the Skype
ringtone.
Yes, we're gonna get a DCMA, you know. Good with it, yeah. That's incredible. That's adorable. So, like, I guess from the time that you guys were doing the long distance thing to the time that Meagan you went to Seattle was like roughly how long?
Oh wow.
6 months.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, being from the South, I understand why you wanted to flee Florida. Yeah. So no, I get it.
Yeah. After I moved to Seattle, Todd, I think he was telling one of his friends, they were like, wow, are you guys moving kind of fast? I mean, 6 months, and then she just moved across the country for you. And Todd would always tell everybody, even if we break up, I got her out of Florida.
Yeah.
So
like she could think I'm a trash person. Which I like understand. I had no furniture. I lived a different life. I was playing video games 14 hours a day. I was like the editor-in-chief for video games and all this other stuff. So basically my apartment was pizza boxes and moving boxes I had never opened. I didn't own a bed.
Well,
I slept on a really uncomfortable tuffon. Not a tuffon, what do you call it?
A tuffon.
Yeah, the couch that folded out. And that's what
a futon?
Yeah, futon from World Market. That was my big purchase of furniture.
Wait, you had so much swag from reviewing video games. So
Oh
they
my
would give
God.
you all these peripherals, and
Yeah.
his living room was basically cardboard boxes. The floor, the dining table, everything was cardboard boxes.
Yeah. Just caffeine, pizza boxes, and just exhaustion. So then I bought furniture. I nested when she came. I bought couches and
Yeah.
everything.
Yep. No, that's I'm like way to live the dream for both of you though. So like Megan, so I know you apparently you were big into video games. Did you play D&D and things like that like beforehand? Was that like a
No,
part of
I
your life,
didn't.
or is it all?
I actually didn't start playing D&D until like 2016. So I'm very new to TTRPG in general. I grew up playing video games, Super Nintendo. I loved Donkey Kong, and there was this game, Beavis and Butthead, that was terrible, but I played that a lot when I was a kid because I watched the cartoon a whole bunch. I
Yeah.
I think once I turned 19, I really got into WoW in a big way. My friends never saw me. So that kind of turned me on to PC gaming. And then
Wait a
obviously
second.
I started playing Team Fortress 2.
Um,
I will
important
yeah,
important clarification before we go too far here. Alliance or Horde?
both. I always
Yeah,
wanted to
but
be Horde. Alliance is problematic, and I know this. The issue that I had with Horde territory was that I didn't really like it too much. I didn't like the
Everything was
encounter.
ugly. Yeah, no, everything was
Everything
ugly
was
on the
really
Horde
ugly.
side.
So
Yeah.
I was really conflicted because I rolled a blood elf because I wanted to be Horde so bad in my heart. I wanted to be Horde. I just didn't like the territories.
Yeah, no, I played WoW back in vanilla when just everything was gross. And no, my main was Alliance. And when the Blood Elves came along, like if Blood Elves had been there from the beginning, I probably would have sucked it up because the Blood Elves were so beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, man, human wizard, all the way to the end.
Yeah.
That's I'm like shout out to Jaina Proudmoore, my homie. They did you dirty. They did you dirty, Jaina Proudmoore.
Aw.
But because I've said this before, you know, the comic I wrote, Dungeons and Dragons: A Dark and Wish, started as WoW fan fiction. All of those characters were they're from Northshire Valley originally. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yep. Just
I love it.
outside Stormwind. Yeah, that's
My first character was a human warlock.
I mean, way to stay on brand though. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
wait, like there's a through line there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
technically, I rolled a warrior, because my ex thought that I would like the hack and slash, and he couldn't have been more wrong. I think I actually got her to level 40, and I just
Mhm.
got bored, and I wanted to be a glass cannon. I like range magic.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Her name was Felyn, Fellyn, and I leveled her up to 60. Um, I think I got the tier 2 or 3 nemesis set, you know, the
Mhm.
purple.
Mhm.
Everything was matching, and I just miss it so much. We would stand outside Stormwind or Ironforge auction house and just show off the stuff that we got. Those are good times.
Yeah, where you just easily stunt on people. That's true. Those were
Uh-huh.
good times.
Yep.
I mean, do you guys still play like a lot of like video games now? Like, I mean, obviously, I know like
Oh yeah.
TTRPGs are a big part of life, but I mean, do you guys?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
we played Old Republic and we owned PvP there because I would tank for her and she would play a Sith sorcerer and I would play a Sith juggernaut and we would play Hut Ball. And what's interesting is a lot of the people who made PvP and Warcraft actually went on to Warhammer Online, which I played quite a bit of, and then they went on to Star Wars: The Old Republic. The PvP in Star Wars: The Old Republic is some of the best that was ever invented, particularly hut balls. So I would I would grab the ball, I'd go down to there was like fire pits and acid pits and all
Mhm.
this stuff. I would go down there and then Megan would just like super speed sorcerer all the way to the finish line and I would just toss the ball to her. And they couldn't
Yeah.
take me down. Like I'd have like 10 people on me because
You would take the damage from me. You would bubble me, and
I
then
also bubbled you. Yeah.
when they got too close to me, I'd throw the ball back to you, and we just pissed off a lot of people. And
It would be goal after goal. We just because we're a couple. Like we've got this down. Like
Yeah.
you can't beat couple energy in a video game because you know we have all the time in the world to talk strategy.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of that like in Team Fortress. Like we were always used to playing characters that complemented each other and
Mhm.
we knew our strengths and weaknesses and stuff. And now right now we're playing Sea of Thieves. and fighting ghost ships.
Shout out to Hugo, our homie who ain't here.
The most awful vampire that's ever existed. For real.
I love Hugo.
It's horrible, the choices. So yeah, see if these I've kind of grown stale on the PvP in it, because it's like such a like all or nothing system of like, if your boat sinks, you've lost everything. And it's not that fun, and people get real angry, and I love to sink people in their ships and hide on their ship and stuff like that, and that was fun at first, but like after a while I just want to like shoot ghost ships, you know.
Yeah.
I need that escape.
The stakes are so high. You spend hours and hours collecting all these treasure chests and skulls, and then someone comes along who has one or two more people than you do, and they just wipe it out.
Yeah, that's not an enjoyable gameplay experience, you know. Or at least you should have the option to like opt into that mode. Of it, you know?
Yeah, I think
agree.
That's probably coming. We played Elder Scrolls Online, and we've got funny like videos of us dancing together and stuff.
Yeah, like the Elder Scrolls Online that's what I play. Like that's the that's what I play on Xbox One. No, that's my jam. It's I remember back in the original EverQuest, you know, way back when.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
I never played EverQuest, but I know families who broke up because of it.
Take World of Warcraft if Blizzard had actively hated the players, and that was EverQuest. You know, I'll give two. Well, the reason why I bring it up is back in those days, if you played on a PvP server, if you got killed, people could loot your body. They could loot your body like a monster.
Yeah.
So same thing. You know, it wasn't necessarily that you lost your character, but those purples you were talking about, Megan, like if you got ganked, it was like yoink, you just lost your stuff. No, I'll give you just two tiny factoids about how bad EverQuest used to be. When you were. So like all games, you know, there was aggro and non-aggro mobs, you know, like things like just monsters you're walking around that won't necessarily attack you. When you were a spellcaster, if you had to get your mana back, which, you know, was the magical power in that system, you had to sit down and you had to meditate. And what that did, you had to open up your spell book, which literally took up the entire screen. You couldn't see anything, nothing at all. You had to look at your spell book, and it turned every monster aggro, even non-aggro ones. So you're already out of power. You can't see anything, and just literally everything stops what it's doing to attack you. Oh yes, and then if you died, your body stayed where you died. You went back to your spawn point, and you had to find a way to get back to, you know, get through the encounter that clearly you were not prepared for at the best of times, to get a way to get your body back on a corpse run. No, it was terrible.
So what you're saying is it's not for the casual gamer.
It's not for any.
It wasn't for anyone. No, it wasn't for anyone.
Who wants to have a good time.
It's like Ultima Online, that's why, like, if you die, you become a ghost, and it literally became the netherworld. Like,
yeah. Well,
like everyone was dead.
Yeah, that's why World of Warcraft took over, and they were like, wait a second, what if we made an MMO that people kept playing because they enjoyed it and not because it was a hellish grind?
Exactly.
And then there's like that stonks meme, you know, the guys standing there with the arrow going up. Yeah.
Well, when I first started, when it was vanilla, it still kind of felt like a grind, but it got better.
Yeah.
And in some ways it became a little too easy, but that's just because I was lucky enough to have a guild, and we would go and do 40-man, 20-man instances. So once they came out with a dungeon finder, I was like, it's really nice if you're by yourself and you need a group, though.
I was hardcore from vanilla till just before Pandaria. I never even played Pandaria.
I didn't play Pandaria.
Yeah, but I was you know, I was hardcore up until that point. It's funny though, because when I first got involved with Geek and Sundry, and I met like the CR people, and I first met Mercer, I was like, oh, I wonder if he was the voice of Illidan. You know, not knowing that Liam really was, you know.
No way.
Yeah, like I'm literally there with
that.
both of them. I'm like, were you Illidan? I'm like, no, but he's Illidan. And you're like, oh, okay, you know.
That's so
I'm
cool.
like, just give me one. You're not prepared. Just one. You're not prepared. Yeah. No, but well, let me ask you this though, Megan, especially being 4 years is still plenty of flight time, but you know, what's in this genre where some of us have been, you know, doing it for 30, 40, 50 years, in your mind, because I know I have my own ideas about this, and I'll ask Megan first, but I'll get your thoughts on it too, Todd. Is what do you see is the difference in gameplay experience between like a video game and an MMO? I mean, well, let me
Ooh,
rephrase. What do you
no.
think is the difference? Okay, well, okay. If that something jumped to your
Okay.
mind, give it to me.
Yeah, no, if I understand your question, I think one of the first things that I noticed was that, when you're playing WoW, you have your action bar and you fill it with those spells that you have. When I first started playing D&D, I kind of felt like I was learning all the mathematics behind it and everything that goes into it. And WoW just kind of simplified those spells. You don't have to think about how many spell slots you have left or if you have an action that you can use. They really just simplified it. So I thought that was kind of fascinating because WoW is obviously inspired by D&D.
Yeah, sure. It all kind of goes back to D&D, which goes back to The Hobbit, which goes back to Finnish mythology. So, ultimately the Finns won the world, I suppose. Yeah, but it's what do you think about this Todd? In the sense of, I would say the experience that one gets out of playing a video game versus the experience that one gets out of like playing tabletop.
Um, it's that freedom and that creativity and especially for anyone who is like growing up super poor like I did. I didn't know that I'd ever get to direct anything or do anything, and going to a movie was a really big deal to even have the money to do that. But getting together with your friends and just being to play these characters was huge. It's also like a massive escape. It's that freedom that blows your mind, and that's why you can't ever explain what tabletop is to anybody until they do it. Because I'll never forget when I was 8 years old and my brother was running me a thing. I'm like, I told him like I reached for my dagger, and because I woke up in prison or something, and he's like, it's not there, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, how can my dagger not be there?
Right.
Because I feel that my dagger is there, and he's like, but it's not. And I'm like, shared storytelling. Like, and then you realize you can just kind of be anything and do anything, and it's something that's still like a great exploration. I'll never get that out of a video game. Like anything can happen, and every dungeon master is different, and then the chemistry between players is constantly different. It's hard not to have a little bit of like it's hard not to want to play all the things that you could possibly play in D&D and other games, because it's just such great storytelling, and you remember it like it's real because you shared these moments with people, and I just kind of adore it. And that's why it's been there with me my whole life. I can't think of like lots of raids I've been on that I remembered the raid, right? It's not so personal.
Yeah,
because maybe you don't want it to always be that personal. And that's what's fun about a video game. So
yeah, I think what video games, and again, love video games. It's you can have a consistency of experience. It's the lights, the sounds, the monster. Like I know the three of us saw the same thing. But with TTRPGs, it's unlimited. If I say the words to you, it is the most terrible thing you've ever seen in your life. We all see something different, and then have the freedom to adjust to that in so many different ways, where it's like, I'm joining Cthulhu,
Yeah.
like he's all like, give me your soul, your mind. You're like, hey, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, like most games, no matter, and I think this will always be true, no matter how smart the AI gets, no matter how open world the sandboxes get, there's in a TTRPG, you can always be like, I break a board off of that cart and I go in there and I beat the shopkeeper to death.
Yeah.
And then go on a reign of terror across the countryside. Like I'm the last boss now. It's just the fact, or we're just gonna set up shop and sell turnips right here.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's the adventure hook. You're like, no. I'm gonna set up a pottery establishment, and then the game goes where it goes.
Nothing makes me happier as a dungeon master when like my players are like, no, I don't think we'll save this town. And I love it. I love it. Like, it's weird. It's weird, especially when you've been dungeon mastering a long time. I love it when they burn my plots to like ash, because when the players are making the story, it's 100% better.
Yeah, I completely agree. Which, by the way, I mean, Megan, have you tried your hand at DMing yet?
Not yet, just because I want to have a little bit more experience playing all the different classes so that I understand what the players are dealing with, because I don't want to have each player tell me, how much damage they're doing. And
I mean,
I'm
that's
just,
their
I
job,
feel
but
like I'm not, I feel like
I
I'm
was
not
about to
there yet.
let me take some of that pressure off of you, especially as somebody that level 20 play is my niche. People groups of like 6 level 20 characters. There's no chance I know what all they can do. Like, I mean, I know roughly. Like, I mean, I'm in broad strokes. I know what a level 20 wizard is capable of. Spoiler alert, literally anything.
yeah.
But um, you know, it's don't put that on yourself. That's why you have tools like D&D Beyond, which is a digital tool set to use at your table. You know, let's see, the secret to DMing is you only have one job, and that is to elicit an emotional reaction. That's
Yeah.
it. If
Mhm.
they're laughing, if they're smiling, if they're afraid, if they're crying, anything is, you are doing your job. Like, your only enemy is meh. Like if they're sitting there and they're kind of like
Yeah.
zoned out on their phone, that's
Yeah,
the only problem. Yeah.
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 I,
Otherwise,
It's
I
gonna be
do I
boring.
do think I'm starting to become more interested in it. Like, I'll just daydream about different stories because Todd is so creative. I feel inspired by him, listening to all the different ideas he comes up with. And by the way, he falls asleep thinking about adventures for D&D. The gears are always turning, and I would say about 5% of all the good ideas he comes up with actually make it into the game. So I really like that in D&D you get to escape. Even as an adult, you get to indulge in theater of the mind and kind of take yourself out of your day to day.
mhm.
And I think that's helping me become more creative in other aspects of my life.
Yeah,
And
especially. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say I'm also a pretty reserved person by nature, and I'm not very assertive. And my new day job requires me to be assertive for the first time in my life. And I'm, still getting used to that. I'm still getting comfortable with that. And I feel like playing D&D is actually helping me become assertive, because when you're playing in a group of like 6 people, you have to dive in. You have to interrupt people. You have to try and help drive the story. Um, and I really do think that that's helping me just feel more comfortable where that happens organically. And I'm not just thinking, oh, I have to suddenly be assertive and I have to do things differently. It just comes naturally.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, not to put you on the spot, so I will move through it quickly. I just know even when we started doing Silver and Steel, you were a little nervous about streaming, and yet
I
you
was
like
super
killed
nervous
it.
about it.
You know? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I
Hmm.
obviously when you have bright lights on you and there's an audience, you feel a certain level of pressure, and I forget my name. I forget my name when I have to introduce myself at work when they go around in a circle. So like the pressure of having to perform is not something that people inherently have. Maybe you do. I wish I had that quality, but I do think that you get used to it after a while. And now I can actually just focus on having fun.
Yeah, no, you do a fantastic job, and
Thank you.
again, um, DMing is the same way. I mean, it is a skill, a skill that can be honed and improved, and like any other skill, some performances you turn in are better than others, but I think it's just the whole point for me. The reason why we play these games is people show up for a chance to be at cause in the narrative, to have what they do or what they don't do matter, to have
Mhm.
an impact, especially with this stage in the world right now, where so often we feel very powerless. Like, we're literally being beset by an invisible foe right now, and all the other existential dread that is going on, that giving people a chance to be like, that's the problem. And it doesn't even have to be a bad guy. You're like, that volcano, that one right there, that volcano is going to erupt. What are
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
gonna do? you know and then if they have a chance to be able to stop it or evacuate the town or flee, or we're gonna stand back a mile and fry marshmallows, but at least they get to
That would be
choose that.
Yeah.
is the selling point. You know?
Yeah. You have a little bit more control over events that happen in D&D. I find that very cathartic.
Or sometimes you don't.
But as you said, you can escape.
Yeah.
You can run away.
Sometimes your DM is awful and takes your arm.
Ooh, yeah, I know. What kind of monster does that? Yeah, it's okay. Get a sweet
Well, it
clockwork
seemed like the
replacement.
funniest thing.
It was not funny at the time. Ugh. I mean, I can say this now that it's after that session. Beyond Heroes, my halfling character Freely. Most of you know this, but on the off chance you don't, my halfling character Freely got his arm bitten off because Todd is cruel, and gave me a cursed sword that then having my arm bitten off was the only way to get rid of. And the reason why I kind of froze was not just him losing an arm, because it's D&D. There's a million ways to get your arms back. We were already way into the development of adding Freely into Idle Champions. And so I was like, oh no. And then you were like, here's a clockwork arm. And I literally emailed them right then. And I was like, hey, so you guys, like, don't freak out. Sort of lost his arm, has a clockwork arm now. Don't know if he's gonna get his arm back. But,
They got that updated so quickly for you. They're great.
They did. No, which is why, if you notice, at no point did Freely ever try and get it, a regenerated arm or something. Like he just went with it.
I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
This is my life now.
This is me now. I have a clockwork arm. Yeah, this is my life.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Something that Whittle my gnome can appreciate.
Yeah, but that's if I see my little Ashen in that episode, y'all, if you go back and watch that pod, that is what is going through my mind. It wasn't announced. Yeah,
the
like
stakes
it wasn't
were really
announced.
high.
I was like, you sure he got the whole arm? Yep. That's why that was, But now he's a cyborg halfling, so that's self-validating.
Yeah.
Well,
but at least you got a clockwork arm, and you didn't get like a regenerative arm, and you didn't have to wear like a little baby hand for, I don't know, a couple of years until it grew in.
That's true, or an oversized giant leg or whatever you did to Harold.
Yeah. I'm a terrible human being.
It's true.
But again, funny. I felt like Harold needed that kind of wake-up call to like how awful Avern was. And Avern doesn't even know he's being awful. He's just like, well, this seemed like an improvement. Like, who would want a giant baby arm as a leg?
If you're watching us live, you guys, I will be running D4 tonight. I will be DMing D4 right after this, where Harold might get some insight into Harold might get some insight into the Averyn-ness of it all, But with that said, for us now, how about we segue slightly into a little dungeons and additionally a little bit of dragons here.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Right. Whittle, where is Whittle's workshop normally? Like, where does Whittle spend her days?
Oh, well, Whittle, she came from this town called Buteria. And it's a huge tourist trap, and that's how we make all of our money. You see, we got these giant pillars where they used to be mountains, but the salt lake eventually started eroding them. And butter has to be refrigerated. We don't have any refrigerators yet. What even is a refrigerator? So we got to keep this butter up on top of these pillars. So we created a sort of a hoist to get these giant hollowed out stones. We put the churned butter in there. We store them on top of these giant pillars. And then in order to get the classic salty taste out of the butter, we take the salt that naturally gets created in that salt lake, and we add it in after we get it down, after it's been refrigerated for about 2 months or so. So it's a little village full of gnomes, and they're obsessed with butter. That is their bread and butter, literally. It makes them a lot of money.
I appreciate that butter is still the through line of all of these. It's evil is the through line for Todd. Butter is the through line for Meagan. There is no wrong answer to this. Whittle, as you are working away in your shop one day, And people are coming and going, and the tourists are walking around with their baguettes and their gnomish butter, happily spending money and maybe not keeping quite a close enough eye on their coin purse as light-fingered little gnomes run through it, maybe relieve them of a couple of extra copper. You get the distinct scent of sulfur, this like sick, stinky scent in your nose, and you hear
I don't like that sound. I got misophonia. I don't like listening to people eat. Who's eating with their mouth open? And why does it stink in here?
Hey, are you Whittle?
No.
Could you direct me in the direction of a Whittle?
She's in the Salt Lake. It's over that way, around the mountains.
Give me a deception check, Whittle.
Let me get my page back up here.
Mhm.
18.
You hear for a second, that's too bad, because I was told that there was a Whittle at this residence that I was come to offer a very lucrative job. Lots of gold, lots of glory.
Oh, did you say Whittle? Oh, I'm Whittle. Yeah. What can I help you with?
Amazing how that happens. All right, I'm going to come out and show myself, but just be cool, okay? I realize sometimes if I just show up, I tend to get, zapped.
Well, why do you get zapped?
Okay, just be cool. Hands on the table, all right? And
I mean, I'm cool.
across the room from you, a very pot-bellied imp appears. He's maybe 2 feet tall, but weighs probably 70 pounds. Very corpulent, and his little wings are impossibly small to be keeping his bulk elevated. And he is wearing a very small bow tie and a little purple beret. And he's like, I've been sent to recruit you to assist somebody in an important mission. I'm sure you've heard of our great Lord Averin.
Oh, yeah, that's, my pupil shacked up with him. I heard lots of things about him. Sophia's. Yeah, yeah.
I assure you, almost all of it is true, especially the bad parts. But he has need of an engineer of some skill. And I was wondering if you'd be willing to accompany me.
Well, I got more than some skill. Yeah, I can help you out there.
He turns and looks at your large contraption in the corner that looks like vaguely looks like a construct made out of odds and ends and just salvaged bits and pieces from all over the place as Randa sits in the corner in sentry mode. What the devil is that?
Oh, that's my friend. That's Rent. Yeah, I'm still working on different prototypes for his armor, but he's mostly sapping twigs and random metal parts right now, but he's a good person.
I mean, aren't all of you fleshy things built out of sap and twigs and random bits?
I mean, we're not made out of sap and twigs and random bits, but yeah, he can help us out.
Well, he just sent me to pick you up. I guess he wants me to bring back some sort of like horrible tree threshing machine. I'll have to make a second trip. And he sort of like flitters over a little closer to you, and he's like, you ready to roll? It's a bit of a long trip, but we'll get there fast. It's just might be a minute before you're back here in the old lab.
Okay, let me just go say bye to Rend real quick. And she walks over to Rend and slaps some more sap on him. That'll keep you for the next couple of months. Hey, I'm going to go on a trip. Apparently there's a lot of money involved, and you know how much I like money. So, hey, Rend, are you awake? Hello? Wake up. There you are. Okay. Did you hear what I said? Okay, yeah, you heard what I said. Okay, I'm going to go. She gives him a big hug.
In his sentry mode, Rend can hear her. Does Rend say anything?
I'm sling Ren right now.
Yeah, you're sling Ren.
Ren just hugs you. Ren hugs you.
So yeah, there I'm like improv. Go where all the half pod.
As she pulls away from Ren's, sap and twigs get stuck to her shirt. Just, a little something to remember you by. I'll see you soon, Ren. You take care of the village while I'm gone, all right? No, not that way. Just make sure the tourists pay for their butter, okay? Don't shoot the tourists. We need them alive.
Okay. Boring.
Unless one of them tries to steal something. Then maybe they'll disappear. Don't shoot them. Just don't kill anyone. Just make them disappear.
So no fun. No fun is what you're saying.
Now, we talked about this, friend. Fun doesn't always involve killing people, okay?
It does usually involve killing people if it's real fun.
You guys would get along great. You'll have to hang out later when we get back from the trip.
He's like, yeah, I don't mean to be rude, sappy murder death machine, but we are needed elsewhere. Is its face supposed to do that?
Yeah, he's really happy. He likes that you caught him a sappy murder machine.
Well, it did seem an accurate statement. And this pot-bellied imp sort of like floats a little closer, and he's like, all right, you got your bag, tools, accoutrements, or whatever you call them.
I got my accoutrement. Yeah, let's go. Let's roll.
You do. How tall is Whittle?
3'7".
Yeah, it's even to you, he only comes up to about mid chest level. And he floats over and he holds his hands out. And he's like, hey, murder death machine, if she's not back in like, I don't know, 100 years or so, maybe look for somebody else, all right? Move on. Get on with your life, or whatever, such as it is.
No, I will kill you.
Well,
bring her back.
Let me just tell you one thing. If this goes wrong, the guy you're looking for, his name is Avrin.
Okay, I'll kill him.
Yes, do that. Yes,
that name sounds familiar, though.
No. Don't listen to him. Don't kill Avrin.
No, do it.
That's my son-in-law. You can't kill him.
I told you that fun always involves, killing, but okay. All right, okay. Focus. I'm gonna task it in. Then he holds his like scaly little imp hands out. Time to take a little trip to you, to Whittle.
Okay, she reaches down, holds onto his hands.
And you hear him start to chant slightly, and you see a circle appear around your feet in glowing red runes that definitely look like infernal. And after a second later, there is a flash of light, and you are standing in what looks like a club of some sort. There is a swinging chandelier with tieflings in it. There's all manners of sentients sitting around drinking and carousing and having a good time. All eyes are on you as you come into the place here. There is a huge vault with large iron golems standing in front of it and music echoing through the place. And you do see a familiar face standing overlooking the balcony there. What does Whittle look like?
Whittle has these huge, clunky, dirty boots on, and she has a black top and black pants that used to have ornate armor sewn into them, but they're all falling apart. There's holes in it. She's got white hair because she is a wizened gnome with little pigtails, and she wears her goggles that she is known to make for her family and friends. And she always has a wreath of garlic that hangs from her hill giant belt.
As the scent of the garlic sort of wafts through the place, clearly a couple of the patrons are like, and like retract from it. Avrin, fresh off of your return from the negative energy plane and some new acquisitions you had made therein. What does Avron look like?
Avron is on the balcony, but there is a very large aquarium that he is regarding. It's actually quite huge. He's got a dusty black coat and a red right hand. It's a red mechanical hand that is extremely ornate. Avron looks of elven descent, but doesn't feel like it's 100% elven. His ears are pointy, but probably for all the wrong reasons. And his eyes flicker with kind of little red lights inside of them, like little tiny red flames. And he's very pale and has a bit of a beard. He looks very Viking in that sense, and looks a little out of place in a black coat. It's a very kind of like 18th century kind of design. I like to think that currently Avron is slowly sipping tea in front of this aquarium that is actually filled with a gelatinous cube, and inside of that gelatinous cube is a vampire slowly regenerating and melting all at the same time.
Avron, as you're sitting there regarding this, you see across the way from you, two things happen simultaneously. This rock gnome that you'd sent one of your imps, Slow is his name, by the way. He's got there's his sister Elvis went to do something else for me right now, but Slow was the first one to come back. Has retrieved Whittle for you, who very much hits the dance floor and immediately like gets into it. Like she clearly, your kind of gnome, Avron. But across from you, as you were drinking your tea, there is the face of Rain Moon, who is a Giselle Alabrin, maybe Gazelle. I very much could be mispronouncing it because it is Ghisele. So I'll leave that up to you, Internet. That you recently helped liberate from the Tower of Moyle. And she sits across from you with her brow furrowed. And she says, Avron, I'm willing to assist you in the acquisition of a Sararax library, but I have real concerns that, should I do so, you may be the next demi-lich scourge of all the planes and dimensions.
I think you have way too much confidence in me. First off, that's always a mistake. Like I would never be able to. First off, why would I do that? That's crazy. Also, like, do I seem like I'm that capable and organized to ever accomplish something that complex? No, some things are better in the vault and safe from harm. That's why I have a certain friend of mine's eye locked away forever. So yeah, it's better. Doing the greater good.
You took your friend's eye? How is that?
Well, it's not really my friend. I just took it, I took someone's eye. It's complicated.
That doesn't fill me with more confidence, Avron. And you see, she turns her head and she looks over at Whittle and she's like, that one wasn't in the tower.
No.
What sort of creature is that?
That's a gnome. I thought you would have gotten around a lot more. Gnomes are these tiny people.
I'm not used to seeing them so vibrant. I've spent more of my years among the elves, those that I didn't spend in captivity or back and forth to the negative energy. Is she doing some sort of sprinkler motion? Is that Whittle, while you're doing this, you do see as you're sort of just like breaking it down, a halfling sort of comes up towards you, which if you're 3 foot and change, he's maybe 4'3", so he's slightly bigger than you, but still very small, even for a halfling. And comes up and is like, yeah, hey, somebody else that knows how to party at Avron's place.
Yeah, let's dance.
Yeah. And they very much, hang on, wait, give me Whittle. Let's see here. Hang on. This is let me pick just the right skill for this grand occasion. Give me too many game systems. You can either give me acrobatics or performance, whichever one is going to be higher for you, Sophias. Sorry,
Okay.
Whittle, not Sophias, Whittle. Although
13.
Sophias is with us in here.
Yes.
Uh,
She's my protege.
13. No, you didn't. He knew like that old dance from like Gnomish prom, Whittle. Like, I mean, like you hadn't like dropped this one in a minute, you know. You're all like, yeah, this takes you back. This takes you back to 1320, you know, back when you were but a girl.
1320 was a good year. Remember the sprinkler of 1320?
Yeah, woo, yeah. And
Will actually invented the sprinkler. Like actually, the sprinkler.
literally invented the sprinkler. Whether
It's
the
a
contraption,
clockwork sprinkler.
yeah,
Here's
whether
butter.
the contraption was first or the dance was first, hard to say. Whittle, it's a long time ago, but
But the
either
sprinkler
way,
sprayed butter, not water.
definitely. I mean, that made it objectively better. Yeah. In Averin, you see as the various vampires and undead recoil from this pair, pretty much everyone else that is here sort of like leans in a little bit, and is sort of watching them. And you see this woman looks down at them, and she looks over at you, and she's like, "This gnome." I mean, yes, I've met gnomes before, Averin, but none quite so dexterous, is the one that you think can help recover the soul engines.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hey, hi everyone. Whittle, is it? Yeah, don't mind all the pale people. They're just garlic intolerant. They're just garlic intolerant. It's just technically I don't even think it's actually a thing. I think they're fine with garlic. I think it's just in their heads. But watch out, they're paranoid about it. Come
I
on.
don't think it's in their heads. I ain't never seen anything hiss at garlic that way. You
Yeah.
know, I'm hunting for someone who's particularly pale. I wonder if they know anything about him.
Yeah,
That's time, though.
I know the guy. Yeah. Come up. All the rest of you, calm down. Go have a drink on the house. You know, or a person. I don't know. What are you doing?
There's 4 vampires in here, Averin. That, well, first of all, Averin, when you made it back from the Tower of Moyle, would you have made it known that you super killed a bunch of vampires? That's the first thing. Is that a piece of information you would let slip?
I mean, I'm slowly dissolving one in a gelatinous cube in an aquarium for my own mood right now as I'm drinking tea. So it's not that I haven't killed a vampire, but I've killed a lot. I feel like I've killed indiscriminately. So
you're getting a lot of stink eye from your vampire compatriots, both from the garlicky gnome and from the vampire that is in the gelatinous cube. But for the time being, they don't speak up, but they do sort of like grudgingly tackle a young paladin that you may or may not have lured over from the Temple of Palor. To sort of like make themselves feel better. Whittle, give me your perception check as you are moving along.
26.
This vault, Averin, describe what the vault looks like.
it is almost entirely black and gold. There are glyphs of warding all over it, and some glyphs you can't possibly even recognize. Some of them even look like Viking runes, and it is a few thousand different gears and locking mechanisms, and it seems it's the kind of thing that you look at it and you almost become hypnotized when you look at it because of the complexity of everything that's going on. And instead of a normal safe where nothing's moving, the gears are never stop moving.
Whittle, as you look at it with a 26, which is nearly impossible, even though this grand mechanical spectacle sort of like plays out in front of you, to you it completely makes sense. It's like the gears come apart, move apart. Like you realize, like, oh, there's some decoys. Like that was not even hooked to anything. Like it's,
that's a counterfeit. That gear there, that's gonna break in 2 years.
Yeah.
That rod will melt you.
Averin, you see she does sort of like stop, and you see her like taking it in, and you very much see the gears turning. She could probably crack your vault if she wanted to.
Yeah, silent image. Just put it over to the front of the thing.
Wait a minute, Avery. There was a vault there a second ago. Where'd it go?
Yeah, who knows? The fumes in here. Illusion. I just spelled the illusion. Sorry, it's someone cast hypnotic pattern on you to try and mess with you. Terrible people. Come up.
I see why Sophia's likes you.
She says that as you're approaching there, Whittle, you see at the table, you see the man you have been told and recognized as Averin, and with him is give me either nature or arcana to see if you know what she is immediately or not. Again, Whittle's been around, she's seen stuff.
11.
But it's like, or she successfully rolled a disbelieve because you're still looking for the vault. You're like, no, it's still over there.
How'd you do that?
The woman that is with him, she looks like maybe she's some sort of wood elf, but she definitely looks like she's like noble, like special somehow. Like she doesn't look particularly rustic. She's got tannish brown skin with lots of black tattoos that go up and down the length of her arm. Almost it would be henna in a different cultural context. She does look like she's a little worn, like she's probably lost a lot of weight, like her cheeks are slightly sunken and her eyes are slightly sunken, and she's like very much nursing a mug of some indeterminate liquid, but she's very much watching you and Averin intently as you are approaching.
Hey, are you hungry? Because I got some food. I can make some food for you. I can make food for I don't mean to call you out. I don't want to embarrass you. I can make dinner for everyone here.
I suppose it has been some time since I've had a real meal. I was very recently liberated, thanks to Averin and some heroes. What sort of food?
Oh, you ever heard of quipper? It's a fish. It's kind of toothy. But if you deep fry anything in butter, it's delicious. I got this little. I have a little tiny clockwork chef that comes out from behind Whittle, and it has like a folding table that it takes out and just plops down a bunch of cooking utensils, and there's like a little portable frying pan that starts deep frying quipper.
She leans forward and she says, that might be a little tough for my constitution. Could you by chance make anything like meat over a campfire? And she is like very curiously studying the clockwork chef as it is working away. That's in my imprisonment. That was what I dreamt about most often. Just meat.
What kind of meat?
Over an open. Any wild game, a rabbit, a deer, is anything.
How do you feel about owl? How do you feel about owl bear? I got some of that. I got some werewolf.
Ooh, little game.
Can you go for some werewolf?
It's I won't look a gift werewolf in the mouth. So yes, whatever you would enjoy sharing.
Okay, tiny clockwork chef, get on it.
Do you serve her some werewolf grilled over an open flame?
Yeah. And I melt an entire stick of butter on it, and I actually throw a little slice of butter into the cup of whatever she's drinking.
I see the family resemblance, Whittle. Cholesterol is the family resemblance. Like gnomes must have like 9 chambered hearts, because I think you've lost like 4 of them.
Yeah. I think they have 9 different hearts. It's just all hearts.
You just reroute power, reroute it. You know what I mean?
Well, that one's gone bad.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I'm alive again.
Okay.
Yeah. She takes it and she like sniffs it a little bit and takes the tiniest bite, and you see just like her eyes get huge. She's just sort of like,
do you like it?
Thank you. She like very much like tucks into it, and you actually hear slight sniffing, like as she's sitting there eating it. And
Hey,
Averin,
I didn't mean to make you emotional. You okay?
Averin, you take in this disgusting display of her eating.
Is it too spicy? What's your problem? Hey, Victor. And I knock on the glass. How's it going in there? That's why you don't betray me.
You
What
see
is
bits
that?
of its flesh sort of lifting off into the gelatinous cube and then immediately healing again over its skin as it reaches for you but can't move forward because the gelatinous cube has it.
That's Eternity. Also, his name's Victor, but also Eternity. It's a painful thing. Yeah.
Wait, is that giant
Also,
green cube called Eternity?
I mean,
I thought it was called Victor. That was what was implied. Also,
No, the cube.
how dare you name your eternally tortured vampire Victor? How dare you not? Yeah, I'm all like, this vampire is beautiful and powerful and plotting his revenge. Yes, Whittle.
Averin,
Little.
what is that?
That is a vampire sauteed in gelatinous cube, and I'm just running a little experiment because Victor here betrayed me, and we all know how we feel about betraying me. And so, yeah, I'm just watching. It's a little bit like eventually, I think he's gonna lose out or give up. That's my favorite thing. So he's just slowly melting in there forever.
Whittle's gonna take out one of her potion bottles and try to take a sample of the gelatinous cube. Do I need to roll for that?
Yeah, to see if you don't get like gelatinized yourself.
Yeah.
Give me unless you have give me I'm going to say
Sleight
probably
of hand?
I'll give it to you. That's like sleight of hand, like you're gonna misdirect the gelatinous cube. You're like, look over there, gelatinous cube. You know, yeah. If sleight of hand is either sleight of hand or acrobatics, whichever's gonna be higher for you.
22.
You see that while you guys are talking, like this tiny gnome very much like scrambles up onto the edge of this tank, and Averin, there's a split second there where you're like, I need her, but if she falls in, it will be hilarious. Honestly.
You know, there's a better way. I mean, you can go and do what you're doing, but there's a thing I have.
And I would say Whittle probably has like a glass vial and maybe like a pair of tongs.
Yeah.
That you scoop, it immediately starts sizzling. Like you notice the vial seems like it's going to hold, but the tongs will not.
Oh god, oh god.
Yeah.
She's just gonna put the cork in the vial and drop it into her bag as quickly as possible.
Yep. You have be carefully making sure you don't have any on the outside, and yeah, you've got a chunk of gelatinous cube now. Which give me either Arcana or Nature, Whittle.
21.
You're super certain this could be used to grow another gelatinous cube. So much so, like if it gets out of this container, it will become another gelatinous cube. Yeah.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I will use this for great things in the future. Brenda's gonna be so happy.
It's gonna give him gelatinous cube cannon powers now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rain Moon finishes eating and she says, Averin.
Yes.
Give me your word that if I assist you in this matter, it is going to be for the good of the sentience of the prime material plane.
Oh, always. Yeah, absolutely. When have I ever not behaved? I mean, I'm not sure if you've heard of the Averin Initiative. I didn't come up with the name. But anyways, there's heroes all over the place saving the prime material plane right now. And, you know, I'm not trying to take all the credit, but, you know, I am. So
give me persuasion or deception. Technically, you're telling the truth, but whichever is going to be higher for you, Averin.
I mean, who knows what the truth is?
That's true. So. It is complex now. Yeah, that is true.
That would be a 26. So
she sort of looks at you and she says, I believe I've heard of this Averin Initiative. Many of the heroes that were sadly lost to the Tower of Moyle said that they'd been sent there in the pursuit of this Averin initiative of heroism and justice, although I'm afraid it only led to their dooms.
I mean, everyone wants a warrior's death. I mean, I don't, but they did, and I was like, I'll help you. I can get you there.
Whittle, are you familiar with a soul engine?
No, but I want to. What's that? What's a soul engine? Is that Rend? Is that what I made? Is he a soul engine?
What is a rend?
Oh, that's my friend. Never mind.
Recently, I'm sure you know the Lich of Sararek was dealt his final defeat. Please, I pray to the gods, his final defeat. But after he was destroyed, he had left behind a simulacrum of himself to watch over one of his many labs and outposts and fortifications. And inside this simulacrum still had access to a great deal of Acerarak's power in his infernal knowledge. And it found a way to become real and whole in its own right, and was on its way to becoming a demi-lich itself until, as I said, Averin and a group of heroes stopped it. In the process, liberated me. But now Averin is trying to convince me to help him recover the remainder of Acerarak's power from the place, and I have been ambivalent, but I'm beginning to be swayed.
It's a super cool thing. There's like pipes, and there's all kinds of constructy stuff, and we just need to figure it out and deconstruct it, and then make sure we keep that knowledge from ever being abused in any way.
So wait a minute, Averin. What exactly are you planning on doing with the remains of this similar acronym?
Oh, the simulacrum is
That's what I said.
been sent away. Yeah. So no, we just want to go back and take a look see on how this device was made. And you're an expert in that kind of thing. It's not really my forte. I tried for a whole 10 episodes, and it just wasn't my thing. So yeah. So
What's an
basically,
episode?
it's hard to explain. You know what a day is? It's like a day. So what happens is we go to.
It is a variable unit of time. Yes,
It is
sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it is a week.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty flexible when it comes to profession. So, anyways, I need someone who, with your knowledge and expertise, to kind of figure out this soul forge, or soul. I forget what it's called. Anyways, it's something that we need you to help with. And then Moonbeam here or Riverwind. I don't remember. Sorry, I have a lot of friends that have moon-related names. We're gonna go and figure it all out.
Rain Moon.
Rain Moon. I knew that. Sorry, that was Kryn. That was a long time ago. So yeah, that's what's
You
up.
see, when you say that was Kryn, that was a long time ago. She pours out a little of the thing she was drinking for her own needs, and then goes back to drinking. Oh.
Wait a minute. You dropped that piece of butter I put in there. No, hold on. I'll get it for you.
That's if it's off the floor, I do not require. Oh, okay, it's back in the cup.
Oh,
It's back.
sorry.
Oh,
It's okay. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stranger, right? And she slaps her arm.
She sort of goes and looks at Avery, and she's like, apparently, and sips a little more, and she says, "Okay, if you believe that you can find a way to use these infernal devices for the good of the planes, then yes, I will assist you in this."
Can Whittle make a perception check on Averin? Because she doesn't know if she believes him.
That would be insight.
Insight? Okay.
Is what you're
Just
after.
as well.
And again, deception, Averin.
28. Deceive that.
I mean, he might.
You probably can.
Boom. 20, natural 20. Whoa. Function, print screen.
I will say, I only play with one house rule, and that is a 1 always fails and a 20 always succeeds. So, Whittle, you know Sophia's loves this guy. And you also know the stories that she's told you about him. And you're looking at him like, I don't know, bro. And he's like, no, I'm 100% telling you the truth. And you were like, Maybe Whittle.
All
Maybe.
right. All right. Well, I guess we'll just cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm really starting to wonder how shady Sophia's is. I thought that she was just a nice girl, but she's with you for a reason.
Sophia's is the love of my life, and I don't know
Yeah,
what
I
you mean
know.
by shady and everything like that, but she knows how to handle herself.
Oh yeah, I taught her how to
She's
take
a
care of
bigger
herself.
threat than I am.
Yeah, she knows. Well, what's the D&D equivalent of karate? She knows how to fight.
Yep.
I taught her how to do the roundhouse kick because you're very tall.
It's a good question.
That is funny that I just ran through my mind there. I'm all like, with the exception of some. I'm sure there were some problematic things in Oriental.
Yeah, aside from a very problematic tome.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
We don't know.
I'm like, no, Tome of Battle just had maneuvers. Tome of Battle.
I feel like the elves probably had something in the Elvish Handbook in 2nd edition.
Blade singing was originally a fighting style.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I taught her all about blade singing.
Mm-hmm. the style, the slippery palm,
and also the dangers of careless butter use. So she's got that going for her.
Off in the distance, I don't think she learned about careless butter use.
What was that?
Yeah.
Freely keep to yourself.
Really hefts the pint, Hey, friend, don't become a lich. I don't want to destroy you.
I thought I'd become I don't know what. I'm not going to become a lich. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're like, what? That's crazy. Rain Moon slams her drink back and she says, okay, I will assist you. And she sort of stands up and she pulls out of her robe a strange flat black medallion, Whittle, and she hands it to you and she's like, you will need this where we're going.
What's this do?
Preserve your essence, keep you alive.
Oh yeah, it's real nasty there. Actually, I forgot.
Oh, we lost a wild Todd.
Uh-oh.
That's it. He failed to save against.
Oh,
failed to save against the medallion.
He probably had that gum from Sophia's.
That's it. The invisibility gun. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's back.
That's what happens. Mm-hmm. AOE stun went off.
He is muted.
You are muted, but you have returned.
That's what happens when you try to drop something in chat and you're on a different program.
That is true. Well, fun fact here on the what we're using here. If you put anything in this chat, the audience will see it. So if you can.
Oh, that is a very fun fact.
Nice. Yeah, we learned that one the hard way. Yeah. So we didn't say anything too off color, but they're very much during season 1 of A Dark and Wish. We're like tap it, and then it's like, oh, they can see that. Oh, okay. Ooh. Great. Yeah. Again, we save the truly off color things for Facebook Messenger. But yes, she just tells you that this will keep you alive. It will preserve your essence. And Averin said where we're going is a gross place, and then fainted dead away from the memories of what he'd endured there, and then comes back to.
Yeah, it's terrible. I sent a demon and Thursdam, we were like best friends. I mean, we're not best friends. That's pretty strong. We're not even actually friends. But anyways, he died, and that was like, it sucked.
Averin, do you always disappear when you have negative memories?
Yes.
You should really get that looked at. We got a gnomish doctor in the town back home. We could schedule you an appointment for later on.
Yeah, I recall that one warlock warned me that one day I would see a gnomish doctor, and then I would be a giant pile of metal bits and magical items. So I tried to avoid them.
Warned you that that wouldn't happen. We wouldn't let that happen to you.
Yeah, clearly that would never happen.
No.
You slow sort of flitters up. He's been heading this way the entire time. He is very slow. He's like, I did see that she had something like that already, boss. Like maybe things are all like twisty. Maybe you already is a pile of like magic items and roots and sap and stuff in her workshop. Actually, now that I think about it, that thing kind of looked like you. But if you had like this weird smile on your face, I mean, you only smile like that when you're hurting people. But this might have already happened. Like maybe you're like
Hey,
caught
Coffee,
in like a
Coffee.
temporal loop or
It's
something. You know
best
what I
not
mean?
to think
She's
about it too hard there, slow. This isn't really your forte. So,
Hmm.
she's gonna send over her little clockwork chef to put its little clockwork hand over Slow's mouth.
It's like they shove a stick of butter in his mouth.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Even
He's like,
better.
oh, it's an absolute good. It's like sunshine in like a semi-solid state. Oh, ah. And he
Oh,
very much,
that's a very nice description. Do you want to do our PR for our butter?
yeah, absolutely. I got some like time on my hands, like eternity.
Okay.
Everything.
Fantastic. I'll get my people to call your people.
yeah,
I,
idle hands.
I gotta get people. Okay. Oh yeah, great. Okay. And while he's sort of stumbling over his words and his like shoving this butter into his like chubby imp face, Rain Moon just stands up and says, "We should go back through the door, Averin. I don't think the tower will remain unoccupied for long."
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's do it. Let's do this thing. I'm excited. Everyone, we're going to leave for a little bit, but we'll be right back. No one let Victor out of the gelatinous cube. He's been a naughty boy, and he needs to think about the things he's done. You're going to be fine, Victor. Don't try a Misty Step. It gets really worse if you try.
Whittle has a huge grin on her face, and she just pats the vial of the green ooze on her side.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities in that vial, Whittle.
Well, we better get out of here because, sigil by night can be kind of dangerous. So let's get to the portal.
As
To the portal.
you were like, what do you mean sigil? And as he opens the door to the front of this place, which again seems like this grand macabre circus inside, when you come outside, it's much smaller on the outside. It seems like a small ramshackle building just sort of set into a row of unassuming hovels is a strong word, but a very small homes sort of like stacked on top of each other in almost a ramshackle sort of way. As you look overhead, clotheslines and things and power cables stretch overhead as you look in is almost as far as you can see in both directions. Things just extend in a long extended row that like very far off in the distance, maybe miles, maybe hundreds of miles, you see a slight curve. And to one side, a grand sweeping bazaar is going on, Whittle. There are shops and booths and vendors of every imaginable variety. And every sentient that you've ever seen or even imagined is walking around here. There are the standard things that humans, elves, halflings, dwarves, but you also see strange, tall, yellow-skinned creatures that look half demonic. You even spot the odd Alithid that seems to be just like floating along, rubbing its hands together, scheming about anything and nothing in particular. You see constructs walking around that look like huge barrel-chested things that have a spinning gold disc in their chest and what just looks like almost just like a crystal ball of a large unblinking eye that like rotates around as it just sort of like makes its way down the street. And if you look to the other direction, it seems to go off towards what looks like a sweeping, beautiful area of extremely lavishly built homes. They're almost like castles. Like if Solars and other manifest divinities were to have sweeping mansions, that is what it looks like. And this house that you've just come out of for Averin very much sits on essentially like the border between these two places. And when you look up overhead, everything is illuminated by a light of some sort that seems to come from nowhere in particular, as this whole building apparatus goes up as high as you can see, and off in the distance, you feel like you make out what appears to be a roof of some sort. You're inside some kind of gigantic construct, Whittle. And there are doors thousands and thousands of doors. Some of them floating, seemingly attached to nothing. Some of them inset into walls. Some of them just catty-cornered with each other. Just an almost unimaginable number of doors.
Well, first of all, she starts stealing all the clothes that she sees hanging from the clotheslines. I haven't done laundry in a really long time. She puts on a black shirt and some black pants, and she's looking around for some boots. Does she see any boots?
Let's let fate decide if there's whittle-sized boots here.
They can be oversized.
Yeah. You find a pair that would fit over your muddy work boots. Like if you put your boots in the boots, they would be about knee high. Like
these are perfect. Bloop.
Yep,
Bloop.
they would fit like galoshes, but they're made out of leather of some animal that you can't quite identify. Averin, that leather is people. That's human skin boots. Yeah.
Relax about it.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Alexa, the NPC.
True. Yeah.
So she
Sometimes my familiar gets chatty.
I was gonna say we need a clockwork construct named Alexa that just walks behind you. She's like, I'm not sure. Yeah.
And her feet are very weighted down. So you see her clunk her way. She's almost hyperventilating. She's so excited about how many doors are to open. There's, what's behind door number 1?
I don't know. Check.
When you open, it is just ice. It is somewhere that is like a blizzard is raging, and the snow sort of like blows into your face, and your nose immediately becomes red and almost raw with the freezing cold.
Oh, awesome. I get up, I get out a little scoop, and I scoop some ice out, and I put it into my whiskey. Continue walking.
Yeah. Wait
a minute. Where'd you get that whiskey from? Also, I didn't mean to shut the door in your hand.
It's the metal hand.
It's the metal one. That's fine.
Yeah. Which Whittle, you notice he has a very elaborately made clockwork hand. What does Averin's hand look like?
It is red with kind of a gold lining, almost like circuitry, and also several gears and stuff like that, but it is overly complex. It's a little bit beyond what you've probably ever seen.
Who made that arm for you?
Friend.
What kind of friend? Because I ain't never seen something like this before.
A gnomish friend? Let's not get into it.
Wait, I know all the gnomes. Which one?
All of them? You know all the gnomes?
Of them. They all live in the village I came from.
Jerry? You know Jerry the gnome?
There's Jerry, there's Jenny, there's Martha.
That's it. That's all the gnomes.
Now there's 14 of them. I forgot a few of them. You know, it's only been 700 years. I'm still learning the names.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it's a point of fact in lore that the multiverse has only had 14 gnomes.
Give me your perception or your arcana, Whittle. Averin is being vague, but this is what you do. Also, I love those goggles, and you should wear them just as a life choice. Like this is just like go to the grocery store like this, but don't acknowledge it in any way. Yes.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. 15.
15. 15 is not enough to crack the secrets of this device. But
all right, Averin, you keep your secrets.
Yeah. Yep. He is right, though. You've never seen its like.
And it looks like you got some kind of circuit board in here. What's that do?
Yeah, you'll figure it out one day.
Well, what happens if you put your hand in water?
No,
does it electrocute you?
No, it doesn't. We've got
That's not how physics work, though.
I mean, it may electrocute somebody else, correct? But we've got
okay.
another plane of existence to go to. Super negative. I mean, because it's negative. It's not like, social media thing. So we should go there and
I feel survive. I do feel like all mean tweets are stored on the plane of negative energy. By the way.
They get filtered right through it. Yeah.
The cloud is the plane of negative
energy. It's like
energy.
that gif of like feels. You're like, all the negative tweets.
Yeah, just pure hateration. Yeah, that's what power is, the plane of negative energy. For the record, though, how far up Averin's arm does the hand go? Is it just the hand? Is it the arm? To the elbow?
Right by here.
Yeah, right. Just the hand. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As you all make your way through this grand bazaar, it is slow going between the weight of Whittle's boots and her insistence on stopping to barter and or rob almost every stall that you go past. And Whittle, every imaginable wonder is here, from just fabrics and scarves and clothing and weapons and armor and tools and food. So much food, Whittle. There's every manner of beast and fruit and bizarre cooking contraption you can imagine. It's Whittle, if you had never heard of this place, you wouldn't have known that apparently there was a 10th heaven, and it is real, and it is this place. This is where you long to be.
Why have I never heard of this place before? Am I dreaming? She pinches herself. Ow. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and steal as much as I can. You do whatever you need to do. I'll be around. She's just shoving scarves and clothes and boots and gears and
Whittle,
everything that looks interesting into her pockets.
we got focus up. There are a lot of powerful people here, and I don't want you to die right away.
Avery,
Don't worry, they're not
if-
gonna see me.
Avery, give me your perception check.
Yeah, boy. This is the real adventure.
Mhm. The real adventure is the things you stole along the way.
15.
Averin, she's like stuffing things. She's like, don't worry, they won't see me. You're like, mm. You swear you saw sort of like a shadow just sort of out of the corner of your eye, kind of like moving this direction, but moving between the stalls across the way. You didn't see it clearly, but as someone who is an expert in, shall we say, the scoundrel arts, she's been made.
Okay. Well, that's bad. How far away are we from the door that we need to get to?
If you ran right now, you think you could make it?
All right, so here's the thing. I hope don't be offended. I pick her up. We're gonna move real fast now.
Right now. Listen, just because I'm 3'7" and
No,
you're
no,
7 foot tall doesn't mean you can just pick me up. Just put me down.
It does today. All right, so
Avery sort of like double times it, and you see like Rain Moon does too, like swirling around. Give me your perception check, Whittle.
Okay.
I love these goggles so much.
They're the best goggles. Seriously, it's the best run
14.
pair ever.
As you're like, stop it, put me down, put me down. You also notice this like patch of shadow, like this like moving across. It is like definitely pursuing you, but you do not get a good look at what it is.
She picks up her feet as if there are mice running around. Make it. What is it? What is it? What is it? Run faster, Averin.
What is it? Do I see what's chasing us?
You don't. You again, out of the corner of your eye, you catch it every once in a while. It is like,
I try and maneuver us next to a door. Like, I probably don't know. I clearly don't know all the doors because that's too much.
Yeah, no one can. Although the door, this one in particular, you realize to the negative energy plane is very much sort of set back and off to the side, because to open it is instant death. So people have kind of not built too close to it.
Okay, well, here we are. I found the door, and I'm lying. Everyone, let's go through. I open up the door.
I didn't know you've been here before.
Yep.
When
Everyone in.
when he opens the door, Whittle, and you're sort of like wonderful, like Whittle heaven bazaar, and you turn around and you just see a gloomy, horrific hellscape out before you. It is dark, it is sad, it is dimly lit by something you can't quite figure out what, and there is ahead of you a huge broken tower floating on a chunk of rock, just suspended by nothing, with spirits wafting around it, in the sense of just oppressive sadness just wafts out every bit as real as the cold did from the previous door.
Averin, shut, and I cannot stress this enough, the door.
No, this is so this is the right place, right?
Oh yeah, no, it's the right place.
No, this place makes me sad, and I feel like there's a lot of shadowy things in there. Maybe that's where those other shadowy things came from.
Did she have her thing on?
We're just gonna dive right into the frying pan. I ain't got enough butter sticks for this.
No, it's good. It's good. Just have some butter.
Nah.
The butter will make you feel good. Get some carbs in you. That'll give you the boost that you need.
Listen, I got all the carbs I need, Averin. Fine. I
Yeah,
trust
yeah.
you. Just this once, though.
I leave the door open though, and I'm waiting for whatever is coming for us.
When you go through the through to the negative energy plane,
Yeah.
as you step through the door, as long as you don't close it, it does remain there.
Yeah.
And after a moment or two, you do see the shadow sort of coalesces on the other side of it. And after a moment, it sort of leans its head forward and pushes its hood back. And you see a jet black construct of some sort with gold trim along its face, holding a dagger. And it looks at you and it's like, you have stolen from the Silver Star. Return the merchandise or I will take your life.
Oh, I don't know who Silver Star is. You mean this scarf here?
I'm
sorry.
in all of it.
I forgot to pay for that one. Okay, I took a couple of pieces of armor. Here you go.
No. That's all right. It's not necessary. Hey, how do you feel about bunnies? And I cast polymorph.
What does it need to save against it?
I'm going to. It's a wisdom saving throw 21.
You see, it's sort of like, and it doesn't change, and it lunges forward, and Rain Moon slams the door.
I was having fun.
She's gonna shove all the armor pieces and scarf back into her bag.
Yeah, don't let anyone take something from you. That's terrible.
Yeah, you know what? You're
Avery,
right.
She took it from them, and you're not filling me with confidence that you were going to make good use of the power that is contained in this place.
She's a hero, though, now. And sometimes heroes need to find the tools to do heroic things. And that's what she was doing. So,
well, to make heroes, constructs, I can make more constructs like you out of the things that I picked up. I'm just trying to help.
Plus, that guy looked evil. You can tell. I mean, come on. He just had a knife and was like, I'm part of this sick organization. I'm going to murder all of you. Like, that's not the right way to address.
He didn't even come at me, right? He immediately just wanted to be violent. Didn't even want to talk to me about anything.
Yeah, it's way inappropriate. And I tried to turn him into a bunny, and they didn't even have the courtesy to turn into a bunny.
He definitely gave you an opportunity to return your stolen wares.
No. He pulled a knife. You saw he pulled a knife on me.
I don't remember it that way. Yeah.
Nope.
So sorry.
Me neither.
You've not been eating properly. I know you're in a ladron. Are you in your winter?
I am now. Yes. No, it has been long.
Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Because I got some food here for you.
Yeah, just got some butter. Have some more butter.
I got some wolf. I got some owl bear.
She got more werewolf. Werewolf will get you there.
Could we just get into the tower?
Oh, we should go to the tower now? Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah, let's go to the tower.
Is Sophie Whittle, as you turn, and let me get my proper description of what this is like, because this is a place that Averin has been to before.
I summer here.
It's true. Well, she's like, I winter here. Give me. Everyone hates us.
I am sorry, chat.
I was about to say, I'm like, what's that? The sound of everyone rage quitting this.
That's what the negative energy plane feels like.
It's a multi-sensory experience now. That pain that you just felt.
You know the sound that AIM used to make when someone signed out, that door shutting.
So much of that. Thank you, Chet. We love you. Yeah. Let me see. Whittle, give me your you can give me knowledge nature, or you can give me arcana, or you can even give me religion. But while you are rolling that, impenetrable cold darkness flows over and around you, stretching beyond the very limits of comprehension. It seems to whisper, Do not struggle. Give up. Life is meaningless. And what meager light sources you have brought with you seem to wane against the great void of anti-life and utter dark that spreads out before you. You have entered the negative energy plane. And before you, floating on a rock, is the sundered Tower of Moyle. A jagged chunk of rock floats silently in the dark void. A tall, narrow tower of glossy black iron rises into the darkness. Turrets cling to the sides of the tower at varying heights, each with a single tall, narrow window. Part of a twisted flyway bridge juts out from one of the turrets about halfway up the tower and ends abruptly.
Averin, I feel like a lot of negative emotions right now. God, I'm such a hack. All I do is use butter. And I got all these constructs. I don't even know how to finalize their final form. God, I'm an imposter. I got imposter syndrome. Averin, how you feeling?
I feel great. It's just, it's a lot to adjust to. It's just, you just have the nerves. You're doing great. You're not an imposter. You're like one of the greatest artificers of all time. You got this. Have some butter. Have some butter. No, you don't. You do not. You're fantastic. You're going to figure out the Soul Forge. You're going to change the universe. It's going to be the best time ever.
This butter's going right to my thighs.
Listen, I'll let you disassemble my red hand and after we're done. But first, we have to figure out how to make people gods out with this giant soul machine. So, let's get in
through the wonders of technology. I have sent you both pictures of what the tower actually looks like. Actually, Averin, I didn't even send you that yesterday because I didn't have it handy at the time.
Very rude.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I also sent you my Nat 20, so
I know. No, I saw it. It's I believe you. It's D&D Beyond. It comes through when you need it. That'll be the new sales pitch. D&D Beyond.
When you need proof.
When you need proof.
When you're not allowed.
I just saw that.
D&D Beyond. Yep. Yes. And that is what you observe. What did you get on those knowledge checks there, or Arcana or nature?
I got an 11.
Yeah, no, this place just sucks. It just sucks.
yeah. This place sucks. I want to go home. Yep. I don't know if enough money in the world will actually cover the whatever negative feelings this place is making me feel right now.
Yeah, it's harsh. It's harsh on the. Well, let's get inside. We'll take care of this thing. Sarek shouldn't be around his little simulacrum thing. So.
As you approach, you see that the first level there that approaches the gate is covered in a thick greenish black liquid, Whittle. It goes up about 6 inches, but has a stinging, just acrid, foul stench to it. It just smells awful. Like it is almost pure necroplasmic, just death, honestly. If just the destructive principle were like distilled into an ooze, that's it.
Where am I seeing this?
On the just leading up to the door.
Look at that. They rolled out the green carpet for us. Watch your feet, Averin.
Yeah, first off, we're gonna probably go up. There's a window up on the 4th floor that they keep on not closing. Is it still open?
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I always like to go a different way every time, but I feel like time is precious. So let's go ahead and fly. Do you know how to fly? Can you do the fly thing? How about you?
She starts flapping her arms.
No, that's not how that works.
No, I don't think I can.
Okay.
You see Rain Moon is just sort of holding their sort of just like holding that amulet and just sort of like looking at this place like she's clearly uncomfortable. But as you guys are sort of like bantering with each other, she doesn't really reply.
Listen, you're gonna be fine. Don't be so glum. All right. So how many people can I fit on a flying broom?
She looks at you and she's like, "Yes, I can fly."
Okay, good. All right, Whittle, you want to hop onto the flying broom?
Whoop. Yep, she jumps up to the flying broom. Whoa, how do you sit on this thing? And she falls and she's hanging upside down like a possum.
Give me your Dex in athletics, Dex athletics, Averin, because Whittle, one thing you as an engineer would have clocked, even with that 11, is gravity is subjective. Here, up is not necessarily up, and down is not necessarily down. So give it to me, Averin. Let's see how well you're able to yip on the broom here.
I got a 16.
You see Averin very much is like, all right, we're gonna fly up. In like the back end of the broom just like shoots upwards, like where you guys are facing the ground as the broom kind of shoots upwards along the tower. Yeah. Whittle, that's not at all how this is supposed to work. As you dangle from the bottom of it like a possum, it sort of like rotates slightly.
Make this thing stop!
You do see, even as Rain Moon starts to fly, she very much heads like towards the tower and sort of like steps on it and kind of like runs up it at like a bizarre zigzag as she's flying also, and kind of like kicks off, moving the wrong direction as sort of like button hooks back around. And Averin, not gracefully at all, very much does put you in through that window. And you see Rain Moon lands in the window as you all fly through it. And you see she very much hesitates, Averin, this being the room she was imprisoned in. As you all fly in, this time, standing in the middle of the room is a gigantic iron golem that was not there before, Averin.
Kevin? Not Kevin.
All hail Lord Acerarak.
Oh.
And it holds up its hands that begin to glow with electricity. And that is a good place for us to take a little break. So we will take a quick 10 and come back and jump back in here. Again, if you have any questions for Megan or Todd or myself, drop them in chat with a big question in front of it. We will pull some of them out. At least we'll try to pull some of them out and chat about it here a little bit. But first, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's just a death golem.
Fine.
It's fine. No,
Don't close your windows, right?
Do not close your cameras. Yep, and we will be back in a quick 10. Hello and welcome back, where I am being joined with the astonishing Meagan Kenreck, apparently inventor of the water sprinkler, but it's the butter sprinkler. Just we said it on the internet. It's true now.
It must be true if the internet said it.
Yeah, like 2 people said it on the internet. In fact, yes, and also Mr. Todd Kenreck.
Hello.
We are playing a bit. We're playing a bit of the dungeons as well as the dragons here with Whittle, the rock gnome artificer, and Averin, the kind of humanish, kind of warlockish Averin. I think Averin is a class at this point. Like you're a level 20 Averin.
He's his own race, his own class, his own.
Yeah, it's true.
He's actually a different game.
Averin is infinite. He is eternal. Yes. But before we went to the break, I gave the shout out for some questions, and we did get a few in here that I want to answer while we have some time. So this is a question for Todd and Megan. Have you both? I'm trying to read this. Like, hang on a second. All right. Have you both tried out new TTRPGs, and what one besides D&D are a lot of fun for you as a couple? So I guess what other tabletop games do you all enjoy playing together?
We've only done Dungeons and Dragons tabletop together. There are a variety of games, like I would probably run Vampire very differently, as I am not an angsty teen anymore, and I can only take so much of the World of Darkness at a time. It is, however, I love Vampire the Masquerade. I grew up playing it. I was a goth boy when I was 18, so I might run it a little What We Do in the Shadows, because I can't not turn a horrible situation into something humorous. But B. Dave himself is fantastic at running Vampire the Masquerade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we do that, please, as a group? Because I feel like I was a late bloomer in the TTRPG world. So I started playing D&D in 2016. And now that I've sort of gotten my toes wet with that game, I am becoming more interested in other games like Quest. I'm really looking forward to. Because it's so funny and creative, and it simplifies a lot of the things that are challenging for me as a newish player in D&D.
You are. I got to tell you though, you're right on time for like the Renaissance though. I mean, fifth edition was just 2013.
Yeah.
And Vampire V5 was 2018. You know, so like you kind of were here to see it
Mhm.
all become a thing. Yeah, I would love to run Vampire for you, where hopefully you were
Yes,
slightly
please.
less awful, Todd. But yeah,
So,
maybe.
I bought Cyberpunk recently because I am very nostalgic for Cyberpunk. And
Mhm.
I played Amber was a great game. Well, not a great game. It's a diceless game.
Oh, I remember Amber.
Yeah, Amber was that was a moment ago. And that's when I got my little affinity for godhood, actually, because you're basically all gods and you're all Sauron
Yeah, yeah.
in Amber. So that's when I actually shoved Avery into that. West End Star Wars was my jam.
Right over there is a pile of West End Star Wars books. Right over there, I have the box set, the Far Star box set. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember that they did
Yeah.
a campaign setting that you were all aboard a Corellian Corvette. It was kind of like a quasi Star Trek and Star Wars thing.
Mm-hmm.
But part of me, somewhere like in the depths of my heart, because I bought the box set and all the expansion books and everything, I always am like, I'm gonna run a stream that is the old like West End Star Wars Far Star campaign.
Oh yeah, it
You know?
was so simple. I mean, you knew what
Mhm.
you were getting, and you
Mhm.
actually, Megan, your first game was Star Wars. It wasn't D&D. I just forgot this. Remember we ran a Star Wars
Oh my
game?
god, you're right.
You were like Captain
That was
Phasma's
my first
illegitimate
introduction.
daughter.
Yes. Oh, I was so excited about that. And the
Yeah.
reveal, everybody was so mad at me.
And
Sounds
it
like
was
you did it right.
what was amusing is
Yeah.
I had actually looked at the concept art book for Force Awakens, and they literally went to that same location you see in the last Rise of the Skywalker. So they went into the Death Star and dealt with all of that stuff because I kind of figured it out from the concept art, and so like I got to run that scenario like 5 years before the movie did, which is a very surreal thing.
I'm gonna go ahead and say you probably ran it better.
Well,
Just a little
You got a little something stuck in your throat there, every day.
little something, little something.
I
Yeah, right.
also did Captain Phasma better justice as well. So
Yeah, you did. Well, that was the whole motivation behind it because she was done wrong. She's such a fantastic
Twice.
actress, and then she was
Twice.
just thrown away.
She's done
literally
dirty
thrown away twice.
twice.
They literally threw one of the coolest
Yeah.
female characters ever.
That's what I'm saying. I know there was
Yeah.
the huge like justice for Rose Tycho phenomenon, but I was like, I feel like Phasma was the one that really, deserved better. But I digress.
She
Question
just like
number-
accidentally fell or something. It was very anticlimactic.
so stupid.
And then Finn deserved
stupid.
better. Finn deserved better. Like
Finn did deserve better.
You know what? Freaking Star Wars deserved better. Let me
It
just
should
say
have
that.
been a knockdown, drag out fight, but it was afterthought.
So
Yeah,
let's
sorry.
not get too emotional.
I
We
have
have more
a plane
questions.
of negative energy. Plane of negative energy.
We own Captain Phasma's helmet, by the way. That was like a big birthday gift
Mhm.
for Megan.
Yeah, we
So
got
she
that
has,
from
like, a genuine replica.
Anobos.
Yeah,
Because it was dope. I mean, she's got one of the greatest character designs of all time.
yeah.
There
And
was so
then
much
that's
hype for the
about
Chrome
all.
Trooper. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, her armor was supposed to be the hull from Padme's ship from Naboo.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
know it's a whole thing.
I'm
Oh
like,
my
that's
god.
why she's all silver and shiny. Like, it's not just the hull of a ship from Naboo, it's Padme's freaking ship. I'm
Yeah.
like, there were so many opportunities to pay that off. When she's got Padme's ship, and then if Kylo knew that, and that's your grandmother's ship that she's walking around
There's
wearing,
layers. There's layers of
like, are you
creepy.
happy about that or not happy? Like, I don't know. Like, where does that? Yeah.
And what,
Yeah.
what a horrible person you are that you have such a hatred for good that you are like, your grandma's ship.
Yeah, she loved it like a lot.
I made
But-
it into my
but-
armor.
Yeah.
What do we love to hate more, the last three or the prequels?
No.
It's
This is an infinite conversation.
this is an infinite
Because
conversation.
I don't
This is
think
my
the last
show,
three
so I'm
were
gonna say something.
as bad.
I have defended the prequels many times, and I will say the prequels are superior movies for one reason and one reason only.
Hmm.
Whatever
that?
you think about it, they expanded the universe. We left the prequels knowing more about
That's
Star
true.
Wars than we did
Then-
before.
That's true.
Mhm.
These other three were not that. But I digress. Sorry. Yes.
Mhm. And I'm unbiased because I did not watch them. I was just interested in
I
what,
like
how you
Rogue One.
felt about them.
I like Rogue One, and then Solo was all right. So
Oh, even Solo was so bad though.
I know, but it was something.
Honestly,
I liked it.
to tell you the truth, Megan, if you watch the prequels now, like you'll think they're okay. You will, especially now that you've been like steeped in 20 years of nerd rage, thinking they're just these awful movies.
Yeah.
I mean, they're okay, but the problem is they're just okay. And
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
have like the most anticipated films of all time, and they're
Mhm.
like, I will
Yeah.
say Revenge of the Sith is my favorite of all of them, though. It is not the best Star Wars film, but it is my personal favorite Star Wars film. Is
I
episode
would
3.
argue they should have started with Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, and then
Mhm.
what's Vader up to? The third film.
Right. Yeah. You're like,
Like,
lost track of that guy for a minute.
yeah.
I will say this, even though Rogue One is great, the best portrayal of Darth Vader, believe it or not, from my mind, is Star Wars Rebels, the animated show.
Yeah.
The
Oh
one
yeah,
that is
Todd
set,
watches that.
but it is set just before Star Wars, and he's this unstoppable menace. Like Vader's a wrecking ball. Like
Yeah.
he shows up, run because he's going to kill everyone. Like that's his role in the narrative. It's like he shows up and the battle is lost, and like that's, I love it. I love it. Okay, next question. Sorry.
Hot topic issues.
Woosah.
Plane of negative energy. Plane of negative energy. Plane of negative energy.
That's where the Star Wars fandom lives.
This says, yo. Yeah, that same thing. The thing again. The thing that was happening for me a
Sorry.
second ago.
Got a chatty frog right here in my throat.
In the back of it. Yeah, right. There's a first timer in a D&D world, and I'm planning as a kitsune. Are there any groups available for fans with autism spectrum disorder? Because I have mild autism. I know of autistic players. I
Yeah.
also know some people that make autistic tools. I even got sent a simplified player screen. I forget the name of the people that put it out. I'm super remiss. I'll dig it up and I'll retweet it. So I know of some autistic friendly tools, but I don't know of any overtly autistic groups. I mean, do you guys?
No, I don't know of any specific groups, but that doesn't mean that I know that teachers will actually use dungeon mastering as a tool for children that have autism, because it is a great opportunity and a great tool. But I don't know of like groups on Discord, but I feel like there just has to be.
Yeah.
There has to
That's
be, yeah.
something to do, but that's definitely worth doing some research into for sure.
I know Clinical Role, they use it primarily as a therapeutic tool, but I bet if you poke around the Clinical Role community, someone there will know
Yeah.
next one. Game to Grow also. I'd say either Game to Grow or Clinical Role. I would poke around those communities. I'm sure they could point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
And last one here, how should a DM approach puzzles, and what should you as a DM do if the players can't figure it out?
That's a good
My thoughts
question.
on this, but I'll toss it to you first there, Todd.
Yeah, puzzles are tricky, and it's important that you make them solvable and you don't take away people's agency. I don't tend to love dungeon crawls when things are overly complex. I feel frustrated and I get bored, because you have to make sure that your players are puzzle people. If they're not puzzle people, they're not going to have a good time. My puzzles tend to be within the plot itself. So I was quite happy with the fact that I had replaced one of our characters with a simulacrum. And I made sure that there was a spell that hid the magical aura of the fact that she was simulacrum. It only lasted 24 hours. I was watching the clock. I was watching when people cast detect magic and when they didn't. And you have to make sure you play by the rules. Otherwise, it feels like your dungeon master is being unfair.
Yep.
Otherwise, you also take away agency, especially if you're doing something like you don't even know who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
That's dangerous ground. You got to make sure you give people opportunity to reverse that. As far as puzzles in a dungeon, sometimes something's just got to click and you got to move along, because being frustrated is we play D&D to escape, not and you shouldn't be playing the dungeon master the I'm smarter than you dungeon master thing either. Like the joy is the players being the smarter one and figuring things out. So
yeah, both the dice and the players will surprise and amaze you. And this in particular, the game we played yesterday, and are doing a bit of for Founders and Legends and are doing a bit of an epilogue here today, was my own reskinned version of a classic adventure called Prisoner in the Castle Perilous. Because we were showing up for Gary Gygax's birthday, it seemed nice to have like a nod to the old school, even though I think it was still third edition. It's still from some time ago. And that dungeon has a lot of traps and things of that nature in it, including some that were like instant death traps. And I'd warned them that I was like, there's some things here, like if you touch the wrong thing, like you might die. But in the way that the game flowed, it's just I ended up skipping it all in the interest of time. I think yes, to Todd's point, you need to make sure that your people are puzzle people, and some are and some aren't. I think don't try and make it too easy, believe it or not, because if you make it too easy, they'll get it instantly, and that's kind of unfulfilling. And you never go wrong with skill checks. Remember, the character knows things that the people don't.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have them roll perception or something and get a clue, like, oh, that rock's a different color than the other ones or something. But it's true. I'd say if they lag more than just a couple of minutes and it seems like the energy is dropping, give them a Deus Ex Machina to get on with it, because that's what makes it fun.
19th, what is it, 1917? Have a rat walk on the line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's always horrifying.
Yep. Short it out. Yeah, because it's again, at the end of the day, the game is about overcoming challenges, and that's what's enjoyable. I will say, just as an aside, we're back, pre-apocalypse, I would do a ton of escape rooms. And I have a group that we go with, and like we're just a wrecking crew. Like we just descend on things. But one of the things that we learn early is you pick a puzzle and you only sit with it for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. And if like your brain's locked up, switch, but I don't get it. You look at this, I'm look at this, and you just like trade off, because it does get frustrating when you're like, why isn't the answer 6? Because that's like your brain. Like, yeah. And then
I've definitely been stuck before where I felt like there's just something I wasn't figuring out, and no matter how hard I tried, I wasn't getting any clues. And it was just this last year I realized that, I can do skill checks. Had I known about that when I first started, that would have made it so much easier. So definitely do your skill checks.
Yeah. Again,
I rely heavily on investigation.
Never forget that the people that actually live and breathe in this world are aware of things that we at the table are not aware of, because I do know a lot of DMs too will like be very punishing of like, well, if you don't remember, I'm not going to help you. I'm like, yeah, but bro, it's a month and a half for me. It was 10 minutes for him. Like he just saw the guy, like, he's going to remember what he looked like. Yeah. Although do take notes, kids. It makes things helpful for your DM. But yes,
notes are so helpful.
Yeah.
Unless you take too many notes, then you just end up confusing yourself more, like I do sometimes.
Oh, especially me. I'll put these like cryptic, like 2 or 3 word things just so I can like write it down quickly. It's like, beware the red bearded man. Like, what? Who?
Wait, what? Who's that?
Yeah. Or I'll just literally will just write something like pickle.
Rick?
Yeah.
Rick?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't invoke his name.
I was about to say, don't say it a third time. Yeah.
Pickle Rick.
Freaking pickle thing. But I digress. Let us depart from things like toxic fandoms and re-enter a more pleasant place known as
the negative energy lane.
Yeah, I don't know how much more positive that is. We'll see how this goes.
Again, you all had returned to the Sundered Tower of Moyle in the plane of negative energy, having defeated Acererak's simulacrum this time, hopefully defeating the vile Demi-Lich for the final time. Although, again, shout out to the fans. Before the Tomb of Annihilation, this really was the final Acererak encounter. And now there's one more. And I think we all know at some point in the future, there's going to be another one. You never quite get rid of Acererak. But you all have returned to the Sundered Tower of Moyle here in the plane of negative energy, where Avrin has brought the once and future god, has brought Whittle, the rock gnome artificer, an expert at all things mechanical, and Rain Moon, the Eladrin that was rescued from this very room, back to the tower to find a way to utilize the soul machines and the knowledge contained herein for good. Because, Avron said he was not going to do anything terrible with the knowledge of how to harvest souls to attain godhood. Is not at all, something that would be
It's not in his nature.
no, would be misused. As you all came into the room, there is a large construct that was here that very much was not here last time that you were, Avron. A huge hulking thing covered in metal with inside of its dome-shaped helmet. You almost make out the hint of maybe a skull with glowing yellow eyes that held up its hands that began crackling with energy as it yelled out, booming in all directions, "All hail Lord Azararak." And you two give me let's see, a dex save.
Oh no.
Both of you, dex save.
9.
Okay.
It must be these heavy boots.
This
These
is
2 pairs
true.
of boots I'm wearing.
The old heavy boots. Ooh, 8.
What's your excuse, Avron?
Until you run out of luck.
But dexterity is subjective, and he's got a heavy gnome on there though. All right, hold on 1 second here. All right, I need a number of D8. All right, hold on a second.
Oh no.
Yep, a number of D8. Yeah. Okay, hold on 1 second here. I'm scrolling through D&D Beyond. I'm like, I need someone that has an approximation here. I'm like, it's gonna be easier than doing it the other way. Perfect. All right, you guys are gonna get a break. You can get slightly less the dice than would have. It holds its hands up, and 3 separate lightning bolts jump out, and one strikes each of you, and including striking Rainmoon, who was hesitating in the doorway there for a not terrible 24 points of damage. Go. Not the worst thing. And now, having been blasted, give me your initiative.
How many points of damage?
24.
24.
15 for me.
15.
8.
8. All right. Whittle, you will be first.
Whittle is going to trace her fingers as wide as she can. She doesn't have a very wide wingspan. It's maybe 6 feet. And she's going to kind of cast like a blue, magically secure dome around Avron, Rainmoon, and Whittle.
Globe of Invulnerability?
Mordenkainen's private sanctum.
Mordenkainen's private sanctum. Well, let me ask you this real quick, Avron. As you come into this, that you guys came in through the window. This thing is standing on the floor. Would you be landing the broom in the window, or would you be coming down to the floor, or would you be staying flying?
I'd stay flying as we came through on the thing, just floating.
Okay. All right. Does your globe move with you for Mordenkainen's warning?
I'm pretty sure it's set in place, but you can cast up to 100 feet.
All right. Let's see.
It's pretty wide.
All right. Hold on.
It says extended area 100 feet.
What's the name of the spell? Just so I can make sure I'm pulling it up here and got the right thing.
Mordenkainen's private sanctum.
Private sanctum. All right. Will say one of my favorite things lately is I've been talking to Luke Gygax, where he's like telling me all these stories about where these characters came from, like how he's Melf and Mordenkainen was Gary Gygax's wizard. It was his actual character.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that
either.
Yeah, I learned that like 2 days ago. Yeah.
I knew the thing about the Melf's acid arrow, though. That's still pretty cool.
Okay, so you've created your ward. Is there anything else that you want to do there?
She is gonna look to her side and say, butter number 1 and 2, come on out. And it's BUTT3R. So I guess it's butters in this case. And you see 2 cannons that roll out to the floor, but then suddenly these golden root-like structures come out of the bottom, and it stands up almost like it's on stilts, both cannons. And they slowly lurch towards us and kind of settle in and prepare to fire butterballs at this construct.
Activating those is a bonus action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'll go ahead and let him shoot. You know.
All right.
Boom, ba-toom, ba-toom, ba-toom.
Ooh.
Hot butter.
Hot butter incoming.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe. Leslie got to roll to hit, I believe. I'm like, it may or may
I do.
not.
Wow.
Even though we are flavoring this as butter, no pun intended, what type of damage do they deal?
Ooh.
Is it force,
Sorry.
fire, you know, psychic? Like, are they gonna hurt his feelings?
Are you asking me or Averin? Sorry, I got distracted because I was rolling.
It's you. It's you.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
okay.
I know I said we're saying it's butter, but what type of damage do they deal?
Yeah, that's a fair question. So let me find it here. It's the force ballistic cannon that I'm using.
It's probably fourth energy.
Probably force then, yeah. I'll double check.
Okay.
You will first roll to hit.
Okay, so I rolled a 12 to hit.
That is not enough.
Okay, but I have 2 cannons, so I got to roll again.
Mm-hmm. It is force damage, by the way. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
A 12 again.
Doom, doom. You see, they're not used to compensating for the gravity in this place, so the ball hits straight forward, and they both just kind of arc wide and exploding.
Don't worry about it, Butters. It looked really cool, though.
Yeah. Is they start like readjusting, trying to compensate. Averin?
Always one view. How you doing? Polymorph. I'm going to turn into a tiny little action figure that size. One that I can paint and love and go on adventures with.
What does it need to save?
Wisdom 21.
All right, hold on a second here. That does work on constructs, correct?
It does.
It has advantage. So
How dare it?
I rolled a 1 and I was like, ha, advantage. And then I rolled a 7. So it's like, oh, hail is there, and you're like, I always wanted one of those. I only serve the true Lord.
Yeah, I wanted to be like literally WizKids miniature Hero Forge size, and I just put it in my pocket. I'm like, cool, that's gonna be fun later. I've got a trick.
You see, Rain Moon just like looks out, and you see she is like a bow drawn with like a crackling arrow of energy in it. And she goes,
"You look tense. You okay?"
I was enslaved in this room for centuries, Averin. Yes, I believe tension is appropriate.
Oh, well, you should have made them small.
We'll make sure that never happens again.
Yeah. Just make people small.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. And then, hey, Averin, look what I got. She holds out the vial of the green sludge.
Yeah.
But we could finish them off if you want.
No. I got something else saved for this. It's but and we don't want to damage it. It's bad.
Okay,
bad,
well, you just let me
things.
know. I got you.
No, I'm very amused. I like to melt things. I like to put things into melty things. So
it's for science.
Yep, that's why I always tell people for science. Speaking of for science, let's try to find out if we can make a god. Okay, so
there you go, Todd. I sent you the actual stat block of what that was because now it's tiny and angry in your pocket.
How dare you, sir?
you see one of in this room you see one of these gigantic machines, Sophia, or sorry, Widow. I'm used to Sophia saying all the time.
I know.
I have to
It's
widow.
okay.
I'm widowing. Yeah. You know what's funny is you notice I mistakenly call you Sophia. I don't mistakenly call you Megan. I mistakenly call you Sophia. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
You see in this room there are it's a gargantuan machine of some sort, and you see there was places to tie people to it. Avrin, the adventurers that were tied to it at the time have been removed here. Give me when you are doing your technology rolls, Widow, do you use Arcana or Investigation to like for your tinkering?
Definitely investigation.
I say whichever one it is, roll it for me.
All right. Natural 20, 32.
Hey, well, again, Whittle, as you sort of walk over to this thing, you don't even know like what was like how could they not figure this out? Like it is completely obvious. Well, exactly.
Look at these chains. These are geez, man. All you gotta do is just wrap one around this wrist, and then you just put this wrist through with the other chain. You just pull it out. These things are rusted. Look at these spikes on these things. What were they made like 800 years ago?
This whole thing becomes completely obvious to you, Whittle, which that was a very clutch natural 20 to have rolled. That the mistake they've made is everybody thinks this soul engine is the artifact, or that this is the machine. It isn't. This entire tower is the soul machine. There are 4 of these soul engines, 4 spirit engines, by the way, that comprise the soul machine, and they are the power supply that make this entire tower work. It is a marvel of magical engineering created by a long dead civilization called the Moilians. It is so extensive that it required a staggering tower to house all of its component parts. It is made up of 4 spirit engines, powerful magical generators that create large amounts of both positive and negative energy, housed in turrets, an ectoplasm ring used to buffer and channel the energy to the lightning ring, where the energy is passed to the core, and 8 receptors that receive concentrated energy from the core and pass it into the soul crown worn by the subject creature. An adamantine circlet with 8 points ending in small crystal spheres filled with smoky mist, a crown that you yourself very much saw recently, Avrin. With your natural 20, I will just tell you everything, Widow, because this machine has no secrets from you. And a 32, I mean, a 30 DC is impossible tasks. So again, you literally like walked up to it and you're like, here's how it works. And understand intrinsically.
Also that you see that little tube of ectoplasm up there? I'm gonna get that before we're done here today.
The soul machine can reproduce the following spell effects when it is set to positive energy. It can heal, it can regenerate, it can also perform a true resurrection on someone. It also, when it is set to negative, it can cause harm, slay living, or create greater undead. And also, it can draw the souls from up to 8 living subjects and place them into one of their receptors, large capsules filled with magical ectoplasmic liquid, to accomplish astounding alterations on living or undead beings. There is a great number of things that this machine can do, and you are absolute lord of it now, Widow. You can decrease its power, increase its power, shut it down, set it to overload, explode, energy surge. Basically, you are the master of this place.
Well, it seems like this machine's mine now. What's this lever over here do?
Whoa, be sensitive, be sensitive, be sensitive.
And the whole tower sort of vibrates a little, and you hear just non-specific baleful moans of souls that have been passed through this place.
Oh no, they can go the other way. The other way.
Is there like a central hub? Like if someone, I just want to make sure, is there like a place where someone could sit in the middle of it and good things happened? Like if you want someone to regenerate, is there like a capsule specifically for that?
Again, Widow, even though you have not stepped out of this room, it's like a hologram that if you understand one part of it, you can extract all the other parts. Like you basically know the layout of this tower now because you know what it must be. That if like, well, if this is here and this needs then it has to be connected, you're like, upstairs, right above
Yeah,
your head.
it's like that meme with all the mathematical formulas.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. So do you know where we should go?
Yes. So we're gonna take a spiral staircase. There should be an area. I can create a chair and kind of rewire a few things. But Averin, if you sit in this chair, I can get all that ectoplasm into you. Now, you gotta be mindful of the ectoplasm came from other people, came from other souls.
No,
so you
no,
gotta be okay with that. I know that you're a man of ethics, so I just want to get your consent.
Yeah. No, that sounds good. Okay, let's go.
All right, let's do it.
You see, Rain Moon is like, excuse me.
Also, Rain Moon, we gotta save some of that for you because I'm pretty sure that's why you're feeling weak.
You did say that this was going to be used for good, correct?
No, we are. We're not going to use this device in some horrible way. We're just having a laugh. I know you're in the winter. I know you're down. Your sense of humor is very Eladrin. So, anyways, we're gonna go upstairs, make sure this is taken care of once and for all. I suspect that there may be more threats around us, though.
Oh, all right. As you all go up, also, I decided to let fate decide how much energy had been banked in this machinery. It is full to capacity right now with 400 souls inside, which Widow, is the most it can hold. I was fully prepared to be like, it's empty. Yep. But nope. It's full.
Hey, Averin, you
What?
want to become a god today?
Yeah. Keep it down.
She has a whole bunch of metal pieces in her bag that she's sticking together with sap and gum that she's found laying around. Averin gave her a whole bunch of chewed up gum. I don't know why he's been holding on to it, but it's been very useful in the construction of this new chair. And I have connected a whole bunch of tubes and wires and a headpiece that comes down. It's kind of plastic and has metal spikes covered on the top of it with other electrons on either side of it that kind of electrocute it. So if you have it on your head, you're being imbued with the power from the ectoplasm.
You, as you all make your way up into the room where you all forcibly ejected the simulacrum of a Sararak from this particular plane of reality, the crown that he was wearing is sitting on the floor. It's got a jagged points coming off the top of it, and it does have these smoky orbs floating around.
I would like to make a sleight of hand check.
You were like, I don't see a crown. Yoink.
Hey, Averin, I know that I didn't just see anything, but you think that thing you just picked up, if we put it on the helmet part of this chair, do you think that we could get even more energy out of this contraption? You think that it would be a good conductor?
I look over at our Aladdin friend. Are you okay? You look very worse for wear.
She does look like very afraid and concerned about all of this as she's walking back up here because this was a terrible place. And I'm going to send you all the picture of the crown. Well, specifically, I'm going to send you a picture of what a Sararak looked like when he was wearing it. And she says, Averin, before
Yes.
you do this, I would like to barter.
Okay. You don't listen. You don't really know me. You don't know that I would actually do this. So, but please let me know. You know what you want to barter here. I got a 25 on my sleight of hand check.
She super didn't notice with her big old two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you know what I did.
Yeah, she super did not notice. You see, hold on here. Sorry, let me get this. You see, she says there are a number of possibilities here.
Understood.
Acererak's magical power was known far and wide. He would not have gone far without his books that allowed him to restore himself from the state of being a simulacrum to the terrible creature that we saw before us. Perhaps you could just take his magic and leave from this place, and this could be used for good. Whittle said it could be turned to a engine for positive, even here in the depths of the darkness of the negative energy plane.
Well, my concern is like
yeah,
the
you
souls
need
have already been
positive.
chewed up and used up. They're all in.
Yeah.
They're all pure energy now, and that's
But maybe,
concerning.
but they don't have to die for any. They don't have to die for nothing, though.
No, you're right. I agree. That's a good point. I pick up the crown. It's all good points.
Both of you give me perception checks.
And not for nothing, but you need both positive and negative energy in order to turn this machine on. So
She gets it.
Either perception or investigation, by the way, because presumably you want to look around in this room.
I got a 16.
Okay.
I got a 14.
You see, when you pick up the crown, she's like, I will show you. I will show you his tomes. Just don't do this, Averin. You untold magical power could be yours. Please.
But that thing's shiny. It makes the shiny. Like look all the tubes and everything. Like clearly this is like super important. Then I could go check out the books. Nothing bad could happen. I'm just gonna go ahead and sit in this chair real quick.
Yeah, just go ahead, sit down, Avery. This will be real quick.
I flop in the chair.
You see, she grabs the bow and she like pulls on the string a little bit so much that like one of the electric arrows appears, but she doesn't point it at you. She just sort of like looks, and she's like, Averin.
No, wait. First off, I have something. I'm going to reach very slowly into my pocket.
Yeah, she doesn't attack you. She just very much is like, bro. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
First off,
yeah.
I take out a very huge, expensive diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Isn't this amazing? Look how shiny and perfect this diamond is.
I have no need for material wealth, but yes, I suppose it does glisten in a pleasing manner.
Oh no. That's not what I mean. I mean, I'll bring it back. I drop concentration on the golem, which I have snuck into her pocket and will explode all over her as I say, turn on the machine, Whittle. This isn't a story about heroes.
You're gonna be okay.
Every story needs a good villain, and
Wait.
I will make everyone a good villain.
Avery, what'd you just do to her?
I'm gonna bring her back. That's what the diamond's for. Switch on the machine.
So to be
Well,
clear,
you do realize now that you've done that, I can't have her sit in the chair. I was gonna give you 90% of this power and her 10%.
No.
Look at how haggard she looks.
100%. I'll bring her back. I got the diamond and everything. It's okay. We gotta do this.
so to be
Okay, but
clear,
Avery, you have to do something for her. You can't just bring her back. You see
Okay,
how sick she looks.
There's a lovely cottage in Fate Room. I'll set her up real nice.
so to be clear, is the golem back full size, or you detonated the golem?
I kind of detonated the golem inside of her.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Yeah, you and there's a pile of like machinery and eladrin all over the place as he sits down and puts the crown on. Whittle, do you hit the switch?
I don't get paid enough for this.
You will.
There's a little knob that goes from 0 to 100, and she all right, God mode. And you see like
Averin.
the whole machine shaking and this white aura start emanating from the giant reservoir where the ectoplasm is, and you just see 2 blue beams go into the helmet.
Averin.
Yes.
You feel supreme power pumping through your veins. You feel time and space open, and you get a true glimpse of the godhood that you have longed for so long. You see the planes open up before you with a kaleidoscopic montage of realities and possibilities. And you see you, many yous. You see a version of you that is dead, halfway suspended between this world and the next as a drunken sellsword on the streets of some far-flung city. You see you as an impossibly old man wandering around the roots of a tremendous white tree surrounded by the bones of long dead gods. You see you as a half elithid monstrosity working away under a tower somewhere, plotting the destruction of all life everywhere. You see you with Sophia's tearfully welcoming a new baby girl into this world and wanting nothing more than to be everything that she needs in this world, and knowing on an intrinsic level that you never will be. You see you with Sophia's now in tears, covering her face as you give that small baby away to a gray-haired rock gnome that promises to raise her like her own daughter. You see you traveling across the plains, assembling heroes to battle an unforeseen menace that you yourself cannot quite define and maybe can't possibly stop. And now you see yourself here in this place as the Averin that you yourself always knew that you could be. What does he look like?
Hi, everyone. It's time we all come together now. I look just like I have a long black coat, a red hand. My eyes glow red with infernal light. It's not infernal. It's my own inner light. And things just kind of singe in my cloak, my coat and everything else just kind of smokes and smolders from all the magic radiation going into me. And all color in my face gets completely wiped out to the point that I am almost completely monochromatic. The only touch of color that you can even identify is my red right hand. The world needs heroes. But it also needs the villain.
Averin, how you feeling, buddy?
I feel very good.
You're looking a little gray. You got some gray pallor. What's up with this red right hand over here?
Yeah, that's just my mechanical hand. Oh God, there's she really is everywhere, isn't she? All right, well, anyone have a bucket?
Whittle lifts up a big bucket. What you gonna use that for?
I'm not sure. I'm a god now, so I'm not sure if I should have to use buckets, right? I should have built like a magic resurrector or something like that. How do I feel?
If you look around in this room, looking at the remains of Rain Moon that have, very dramatically been splattered everywhere, you can see instantly with your clarity of vision that behind one of those bookshelves in this room. The tomes affixed to the bookshelf are bound in the skin of various creatures and covered with abyssal symbols that declare their foul titles. They contain evil, forbidden knowledge written in dark speech that provide the secrets of lichdom, creating mummies, making pacts with demons and devils, and similar themes. But behind that, hidden from all but the truest of sight, masterfully disguised panels behind hides several more tomes. A secret compartment where Sararak keeps his personal spell books. A set of 3 of Bakab's blessed books, copied from the original as Sararak's vast library of the Arcana. Aside from his own spells, it contains all sorts of magic, many of which are spells long forgotten. Obtaining a Sararak spellbooks would have been the crowning achievement of any adventurer's career, but you yourself have found a way to go one step further.
I am very happy. Whittle, you've done an excellent job. This machine is now yours. But you are the
boy.
guardian and the custodian of this entire machine. Please do not misuse it and never use it against me. Also, I have this lovely box, and I use prestidigitation to try to like scoop what remains of the Eladrin into this box. It is a pre-labeled box.
What's the box labeled as?
The box says this is you, and I draw all the glue, the goo and the red and the pieces of bone. I just slowly push the diamond into it, and I close the box, and it's addressed to the Temple of Palor in sigil. And it says, "This is your problem now." And I try to magic away. I try to teleport to sigil.
You send the box of Eladrin and a diamond off there, and you see as Averin stands there, truly overjoyed with the infinite power that he has now found a way to access. You, Whittle, know there is one major vulnerability to all of this, that you, Whittle, the rock gnome, are the only living creature that knows. And that is a good place for us to stop.
Can I just say that my homunculus, the little chef, is bawling because it thinks that the deep fried werewolf it gave to Rain Moon was her very last meal. It's okay. She'll be back.
We're good.
Averin will fix all of this.
Yeah, no, this is fine. This is fine. This is one of those times that I'm like happy in DM, very unhappy and freely, because now this is my problem.
I didn't suspect that Whittle would be responsible for Averin being a god. This took a turn.
This all took a big turn.
Yeah.
You know, it was that natural 20. I told y'all that's my only house rule. A 20 works. Whittle's
it.
like, oh, but again, Whittle, I will tell you separately, you do know a significant point of vulnerability because you know how this worked.
And I will never tell anybody about it.
But hey, can't top that. So thank you all for joining us. This is fine. It's all fine.
Everything's fine.
Don't forget to weaponize your polymorphs, everyone. You can shove a tiny thing in a big thing and then undo it. It's not safe. Maximum damage isn't a save.
Megan, where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Meagan Kenreck, and also on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, I will be playing Sophia's on Silver and Steel.
And Mr. Todd Kenreck.
You can find me sitting on Palor's throne, first of all. Eating grapes and watching plays about myself. Also, I'm the creative manager at D&D Beyond, and also apparently a terrible human being as Averin. And well, God, not human being. Let's not mince words. I am also married to the amazing Meagan Kenreck, who is playing one of my favorite characters of all time. That's it. The Whittle.
It's me.
Absolutely one of the best role players on the planet. She's amazing. She's the light of my life. That's all I got.
Oh, you guys are adorable.
Oh, no. I feel like the
yeah.
strangest part of me comes out when I play with you, Todd.
That's the problem. You're with him every day. yeah.
You're making me more
Trust
powerful.
me, it's changed me. He's only encouraged this behavior over the last 9 years.
You're like, that's my secret, Cap. I'm weird all the time, you know? B. Dave Walters, I say words about things. You can find me literally 7 days a week somewhere doing something. I'm going to be on D4 tonight here in about an hour running a game for them. Tuesdays, Silver and Steel with these wonderful people. Thursdays, I'm DMing a Dark and Wish on D&D Twitch. Also, I am crowdfunding for a documentary about Black Lives Matter and where we go from here. You can find it on my Twitter at @BDaveWalters. It is a pinned post at the top. I appreciate any and all signal boosts. With that, I know we are off next Sunday, maybe the Sunday after. Originally, you guys were the last guest that I had set up for this because we booked this like months in advance. But since we've been doing these, lots of people have hit me up asking to come on board. So, we'll see. Even I don't know who our next guest will be. But with that being said, again, I apologize to the multiverse for what's about to happen next.
Did you know how dark I would go?
I knew what this was when I brought you to the place that how a Sarah Wreck became a lich, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna tell y'all some stuff when we go offline. That's okay. It's okay. Yeah. This is it's okay.
This is your fault.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you for having us, V Dave.
See y'all.
This is so much fun. Goodbye, everyone. See you Tuesday.
Bye.